A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
This I believe. Dr. Galen Jones is an official in the Office of Education in the Federal Security Agency. He has had an extensive background for this work. He was a teacher, principal, and assistant superintendent of schools over a period of some 30 years. Against this background, Dr. Jones now states his creed.
My basic belief is in the inherent dignity and unique worth of the individual personality. Assuredly, this belief in the sacredness of the individual personality was nurtured in a home where, as a child, I found response to essential needs, security through understanding and love, encouragement by recognition of personal uniqueness, and new experiences appropriate to sound growth and development. Early, no doubt by reason of family devotions and exposure to the teachings of a minister father who was at once both simple and profound, there grew naturally a faith in a universal God who made each person a free agent to be or not to be a person of dignity and worth. When I was 19 and a junior in college, my father was stricken with what proved to be a fatal illness. During the 2 weeks prior to his death, it was my privilege to sit with him in the hospital at night. With possible forebodings of the outcomes of his illness, he was concerned with my then consuming interest in the study of philosophy, and especially in relation to my eventual faith and beliefs. These we discussed as persistently as his failing strength would permit. Finally, a few nights before his passing, he remarked that on some things highly valued by him we apparently could not agree, but that he wanted me to sense fully his confidence in my integrity. His last words to me are cherished both as a blessing and a guide. They were that each person is responsible ultimately for his own choices, his own beliefs, and his own conduct. Thus, I take it, came the core of the faith by which I live. A lifetime of work with youth has but strengthened my belief that in respect for personality, we find the cornerstone of our American values. In a brief talk, I can mention but a few of the things which this conviction means to me, not only as an educator, but also as a parent and citizen. It means recognition of the capacity for growth and a feeling of responsibility for helping everyone secure a fair chance to develop and realize his potentialities. From long companionship with developing youth, I have increasing confidence in the efficacy of freedom. Every time I look at the statue of freedom which crowns the dome of our national capital, I am aware that rightly she looks, by day and by night, toward the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress. To be free, I believe every person is entitled to justice and to learning. To me, it is an irrefutable consequence of man's inherent dignity that authoritarian ways of life can never successfully compete in the long run with the way of responsible participation. Free men, by their very character, cannot long be subdued, and in collaboration with other free men, will always see to it that their institutions are the servants of the general welfare. Thus, the homes, the churches, the free schools, and our representative government together can provide the climate which nurtures self-improvement, the climate which permits man to be true to himself. This I believe.
That was Dr. Galen Jones, a resident of Washington, D.C., and an official of the Federal Security Agency.
The Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Today is the anniversary anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire.
The one that was started by Mrs. O'Leary's cow.
Yeah, Mrs. O'Leary's cow.
See, everybody knows her name, but who knows the cow's name? That should be a famous name, too.
Maybe Tony knows.
Oh, I'm sorry, fellas, but that's one famous name I don't know. But I do know that Anchor Hocking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Wedding Breakfast. 5 o'clock in the morning. A dull and dreary 5 o'clock. In the big Morning Express building, an elevator halts at the floor of the photography department, and...
Get out here with me, Annie.
Oh, I've got to report up the city room, Casey.
And if you do, the boss is liable to sock you with another assignment before you got time to recover from the one we just had. Come on, Annie.
Okay. I need a breather.
Yeah, me too. I'll hand in the pictures I got for developing. We'll hop out and grab a cup of coffee.
2 or 3 cups. Strong.
Let me get that door for you.
Oh, thanks.
Hi, Casey.
Huh?
Morning, William.
Oh, it's been nothing good about this morning, Pollock.
You two look kind of beat up.
Well, if you'd seen 4 dead bodies spread over the pavement in an accident like we've just seen, you'd look beat up, too. Here are the films I exposed, Pollock. They're not pretty. Run them through the developer, will you?
Okay.
My desk phone, huh?
Probably the guy who's been trying to get you ever since you went on that accident
What?
thing.
Somebody's been calling me?
He gave his name as Jimmy Hackett. Wouldn't say what he wanted you for.
I don't know any Jimmy Hackett. Hello, Casey speaking.
Oh, finally I get you. This is Jimmy the Hacky, Casey.
Jimmy who?
The Hacky, you know, the cab driver you got out of a jam when them cops...
Oh, Jimmy.
Yeah, Casey. When a guy does me a favor, I ain't happy till I can do something for him. Now I got what I think is an exclusive story for you.
Okay, shoot it, pal.
You know Sylvia Loomis, the multi-million heiress?
Well, I know of her.
You know anything about a party named Duke Pavel? He's got fancy marshal hair and he don't talk good American like you and me.
Baron Rennie Dupavu?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Oh, well, what about
He and this Loomis chicken got married tonight.
What?
This is straight goods, Casey.
Hey, listen to this, Annie. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
About 3 this a.m., I pick up 3 couples outside the club Casbah.
Yeah?
They tell me to drive to Fieldston just over the state line. They get a justice and a piece out of bed, and one of the couples gets married.
What do you
Well,
know?
from talk I heard, it seems they got a license last week sometime, but the girl had started to welch on the ball and chain idea. This Duke Pavel and his friends fed her quite a few drinks at the Casbah tonight and talked her into going through with it. Well, it was only during the drive back to the guy's apartment that I get wise to who the newlyweds was.
Sylvia Loomis and Baron Rennie Dupavu.
That's right. I took them and their friends to Duke Pavel's apartment, the Wilshire Manor. They plan to have more drinks there and a wedding breakfast. This hot news for you, Casey?
It's plenty hot, Jimmy, and thanks a million.
Don't thank me. I'm still thanking you for getting me out of that jam. Goodbye.
Goodbye, kid. You heard that, Annie?
Oh, this is front page stuff, Casey. Sylvia Loomis is one of the richest gals in the world.
And the guy Jimmy says she's married is an A1 rat, Annie. Dupavu's never done a decent day's work in his life.
But what a handsome hunk of man he is.
Oh. Hey, that Loomis girl. She was engaged to Artie Mason. I wonder what... Hey, well, come on. That wedding breakfast ought to be starting about now. Let's get up the city desk, lay our tip on the line, then go to Pavel's apartment for confirmation.
Okay, a simple social assignment like this will be a welcome relief, Casey, after that accident job we just finished. We got a lucky break, Casey. If that elevator man hadn't been enjoying a nap, we'd never have gotten up here to do Pavel's apartment unannounced.
Not in a swanky joint like this.
Oh, did you press the third floor button?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
According to the directory downstairs, his apartment is 3D.
Oh, here's 3A. D ought to be that door at the end of this hall here.
Yeah. Hey, look. Woman's coming out of there.
Oh, she's in a big hurry.
She's running down the stairs.
Yeah.
As though something was after her.
Huh. I think she's going away so fast because she just had an unpleasant surprise, Annie.
What do you mean?
I recognize that dame, man. That's Mrs. Fred Gardner.
The Mrs. Fred Gardner?
Mm-hmm. According to gossip, she's been one of Pavel's gal friends. It must have shocked her to meet his brand new bride.
Oh, the meeting must have been a shock to everyone concerned. I don't hear any sound in there of what is laughingly called merriment.
Now, wait, I'll ring the bell.
The door's partly open, Casey.
Yeah. There's a sound from inside.
No one answers your ring.
Let's have a look inside.
The living room's empty.
Boy, there's been a party in there. Eyeball glasses all around.
Maybe everybody went out for that wedding
Annie,
breakfast.
come in. Let me close this door. Have a look around.
Hey, Casey, we have no right
We'll
to...
take the right. Mrs. Gardner had a reason to run out of here the way she did, Annie. Hey. Look at this.
What? Pieces of the marriage certificate.
What it looks like.
Well, somebody tore it to bits.
Stick again in that next room.
Looks like a library.
Casey! Holy...
That man on the floor.
That's Pavel. His skull's been crushed in, and he's dead. The body's still warm.
Hey, the woman we saw leave here, Mrs. Gardner, she's the one.
Quiet.
Huh? Someone's in this room.
Here the guy is, on the floor behind the sofa.
Hey, it's Artie Mason. He's asleep.
Probably drunk.
That statuette beside his hand. There's blood on it, Casey.
Fresh blood, Annie. This bronze statuette is what killed Pavel.
Then Mason must have done it. He was crazy about Sylvia Loomis. He found out she'd married this gigolo. He came up here...
Don't go too fast, Annie. Don't forget Mrs. Gardner. Don't forget the bride.
Sylvia, yeah. Hey, come on back to the library. There must be a phone in there, and I'll call City Desk.
Give the cops a ring afterward. They may be interested.
Well, just as soon as I get my story in. Oh, there's the phone.
Uh-oh. We won't call on that.
Oh, the wire's been yanked
Find
out.
a telephone outside, Annie.
Oh, right. I'll take the car and find a phone and come back here with a cop.
Right. While you're doing that, I'll make with a camera here.
Okay, I'm on my way.
All right, I'll lock the door behind you. Nobody else can walk in like we did.
Well, I'll come back as soon as I can and ring the bell.
All right, so long. What a beautiful front page picture this is going to make. Another shot of the dead man from another angle. Huh? He made a quick trip. Just a second, Annie. I'll let you in. What?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Larkin's the name. I want to see Pavel.
He isn't here.
He'd better be here, and he'd better see me. Out of my way.
Wait a minute.
I said out of my
I'm
way.
not being pushed around like that, mister.
That's too bad.
Tough, huh?
Plenty. Now go tell Pavel I'm here for the stuff he promised.
What stuff?
He knows. Just tell him Horseshoe Larkin's here.
Oh, I've heard of you. You're one of the gambling racket guys I never ran into before.
On your way. Get Pavel.
I'll take you to Pavel. Step into the library here.
Okay.
There he is.
What?
I'm afraid he isn't going to give you the stuff he promised.
When did this happen?
Not very long ago.
Did you?
No. I didn't kill him. Maybe the guy over here did.
Artie Mason.
You know Mason?
Yeah. He's drunk. Passed out.
I think it looks that way.
How do you fit into this?
Just happened to be waiting for a bus that runs right through here.
Cut the comedy. You a cop?
Yes.
I get you now. That camera, you're a press photographer.
You got me, yeah. Casey's the name.
That, picture's hanging crooked on the wall.
Don't touch that. Don't touch anything before the cops get here.
How long you been alone here?
10, 15 minutes. Why did you want to straighten that picture?
Habit. I can't stand seeing things crooked.
That's coming from you as the makings of a joke.
Yeah. You think Artie Mason bumped off Pavel?
I'm keeping an open mind.
You sent for the cops, of course.
Yeah.
I'll wait for them. I'm interested in what they'll have to say.
Yeah, and they'll be interested in what you'll have to say.
Mister, I've got an alibi.
Shh, quiet.
Huh?
I heard something like a door.
Somebody else in the joint?
The kitchen. I'm going out.
I'm coming with you.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I beg your pardon.
You heard me.
Oh, I know this guy, Casey. His name's Waldo. He's Pavel's servant.
I'm Baron Pavel's man, Mr. Larkin.
How did you get in here? When?
I left myself in the service door there just a few moments ago.
Reporting for work?
Yes, sir.
Is this kind of early?
Well, the Baron telephoned me about an hour ago and said he wished me to prepare a special breakfast.
Oh, yeah, They're checks.
If you permit me, sir, who are you and why do you question me?
Step into the library and I'll show you why.
Just a moment while I replace this dish of dog food in the refrigerator. I've just taken it out with
Dog food?
For the Baron's spaniel.
I haven't seen any spaniel.
Oh, he's there in the butler's pantry, sir.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I see. He's the world's lousiest watchdog. Hadn't been a yap out of him.
He's very old and sick.
Yeah, he looks it. Come on in the library. Don't touch anything.
Don't touch
There's
anything.
no reason why.
The Baron, what has happened?
Kind of plain, isn't it, Waldo?
Is he dead?
Completely.
There's the guy behind the couch who finished him off.
Mr. Mason.
You know him, huh?
He came here last week, and he threatened the Baron.
Threatened him?
Yes, sir. I heard him say that if Baron Dupaville didn't keep away from Miss Loomis, he'd kill him.
That does it, Casey. Mason's the killer.
Doesn't sound too good for the guy, Larkin, but I'm still keeping an open mind. Answer that doorbell, will you, Waldo?
Yes, sir.
I think a lady rang it with some cops.
Our story will continue in just a moment. In honor of our great American wine industry, next week has been designated as National Wine Week. We have a right to be proud of American wines, and we're glad to acknowledge a debt of gratitude to those who've accomplished so much for us in vineyard and winery. They've made it possible for us to enjoy wines of exquisite taste and superb character. These wines appear on our table bearing the legend, grown and bottled in America for the world to respect and enjoy. Make it a point to serve delicious wines with your meals. And what a choice you have in American wines. Wines that bring you the taste and bouquet of the living grape. Wines that delight the eye with gem-like colors that range from the pale glitter of the topaz to the deep glow of the ruby. All of them good, all of them delicious, all of them American. American wines come to you in clean glass bottles, for glass bottles only can bring you wine as it comes from the winery, unaffected by any foreign taste or flavor. Now, quite naturally, the American wine industry comes to Anchor Glass for carefully made wine bottles. Another product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Captain Logan, how long will it take to sober Mason up?
Well, the doc says it'll be hours before he can tell a coherent story, Miss Williams.
The guy really had a skinful of it.
I'll say.
Well, he probably didn't know what he was doing when he killed Dupaville.
He knew what he was doing a week ago when he threatened to kill him.
I want to know just how Mrs. Gardner fits into this picture. What made the bride do her fade out? What happened to the 4 wedding guests who were here?
So do I want to know all about that, Casey, and my men are working on those angles right now. I also want to know more about Horseshoe Larkin's part in this thing. I put him and that valet under guard in one of the bedrooms. Come on.
Captain Logan.
Yes, Sergeant?
We just found a wall safe in that library, and it's unlocked.
Wall safe?
There it is, sir. That picture was hanging in front of it. The door was open about 1/4 inch.
What'd you find inside?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing.
That picture hung over the safe. Logan, let's have a talk with Larkin.
Okay. He's in here with the valet.
So you're finally getting around to us, Captain.
Around to you, Larkin. Waldo, go into the living room with this officer.
Please, Captain, may I go to the kitchen? I haven't fed the Baron's poor dog yet. The old fellow's very weak.
Okay, feed the pooch.
Thank you, sir.
Well, what do you want from me, Captain?
The straight story of why you came here, Larkin. And tell the truth, because I'll check every word you say.
Okay. Dupaville dropped $50,000 to me in a stud game. Here's his IOUs to prove it. I let him stall long enough. So I told him I wanted my dough right away. Or else.
Or else, meaning he'd be beaten up or bumped off.
Why, Captain, how you talk. I simply told the guy he'd lose my friendship.
Go on.
He called me up yesterday and asked would I accept a pearl necklace as a pledge until he could redeem it for cash.
A pearl necklace?
Yeah, he said it was worth 75 G's. I said it was a deal and I'd be here for it this morning. I came here and you know the rest.
Did he tell you where he was getting that pearl necklace?
I don't ask guys personal questions like that. And he said he had the necklace. Captain, have you cops come across it?
There's no pearl necklace here.
Of course, you took a look in his wall safe.
You know he had a wall safe?
Sure, I saw him get dough out of it to pay other debts he owed me.
You wanted to straighten that picture a while ago because you were interested in the safe behind it. Huh?
That's right, Casey. But I guess that Pavel was lying to me about having them. And I lose $50,000. I can't collect from him now.
You've told a fairly smart story, Larkin. It makes you seem to have had an interest in keeping Pavel alive. And we'll check plenty on you just the same, Larkin. Sergeant?
Yes, Captain?
I want you to search this man thoroughly. And give that Ballot Waldo the same kind of going over. I want their home searched, too. There's a possibility that a pearl necklace may have been taken from that safe. Come on, Miss Williams, Casey.
Captain, just a minute.
What is it, Sergeant?
The boys have located both Sylvia Loomis and Mrs. Gardner.
Where are they?
The Loomis girl is in St. Anne's Hospital. She swallowed poison.
Poison?
Yeah, but the doc's got her in time to save her.
Has she been able to talk?
No, sir, and won't be able for a while.
That's just swell. First Mason and now... Is Mrs. Gardner in the hospital, too?
No, sir, she's been taken to headquarters.
At least I'll have a chance to question one suspect besides Larkin. If you and Miss williams want to hear what the lady has to say, Casey, come on.
Believe me, Captain, Rene Dupavi was dead when I came into his apartment this morning. I swear he was.
All right, now just take it easy, Mrs. Gardner, and start from the beginning. You've been seen a lot with Pavel. You were infatuated with him, weren't you?
Yes.
Is that all?
I've been keeping Rene supplied with money.
Ah.
Several days ago, he told me he owed a gambling debt to a man who might kill him if the debt wasn't paid.
Did the debt amount to $50,000?
Yes. I didn't have that much cash, but I had a valuable pearl necklace. I gave it to Rene yesterday.
A pearl necklace worth $75,000, say?
Yes. But last night I learned that Rene and Sylvia Lewis were going to be...
You went to Pavel's apartment to have a showdown with the gentleman.
Yes.
You were pretty sore at him, huh?
I had a right to be, Mr. Casey. He made a fool out of me only a few hours before he'd made love to me. I'd given him my necklace.
You found him apparently alone in his apartment. You picked up that bronze statuette and you hit him over the head.
No. He was dead when I got there.
Huh?
And who let you in his place?
Yeah, tell me that, Mrs. Gardner.
I had a key to his apartment. Here it is.
Yeah. What'd you do after you saw Pavel's dead body?
I rushed out of the place. These newspaper people saw me leave.
Mrs. Gardner, did you recover your necklace before you left?
Can you believe I'd even think of the necklace after I saw Rene lying in his own blood, Mr. Casey?
Lieutenant, you take over. If she changes her story in any vital detail, let me know. I'll talk to you later, Mrs. Gardner. Come on, Miss Williams, Casey. My guys should have rounded up the rest of the suspects by now.
Here's your beers, folks.
Thanks.
Say, you two sure look tired.
Yeah. Miss Williams and I feel all beat up, pal.
Oh, I'll say we do. It's almost midnight, Ethelbert, and we started on this case at 5 this morning.
Anything new on it?
Mason finally talked. So did Sylvia Loomis. And the wedding guests told their story.
What'd they say?
Well, it boils down to this, Ethelbert.
Huh?
By the time the wedding party reached Pavel's place, it all sobered up a bit, and they were all tired. After Pavel telephoned this guy, Waldo, to come in and whip up a breakfast, the guests all reneged on the whole idea and decided to go home, which they did.
And according to Sylvia, she and DePavel were only alone about 10 minutes when Mason appeared.
Lit to the eyes, too. Someone had tipped him off about the marriage, and he spilled DePavel's setup with Mrs. Gardner to Sylvia, the new bride.
And when she learned that her new husband had been palsy-walsy with Mrs. Gardner only a few hours before the wedding, she blew up and tore up her marriage certificate and, well, this is her story, ran out of the place, went home, and swallowed poison.
She left Mason alone with Duperville?
Yeah. So she says. She also says Mason had passed out cold by that time.
Sylvia may have done it while Mason was blacked out. Mason may have snapped out of his blackout after she left and done it. Or Mrs. Gardner may have done it. Gee, who done it?
Well, you give us the answer, pal.
How about Horseshoe Larkin?
No, his alibi stood up 100%.
And the pearl necklace has completely
Oh,
disappeared.
let's forget it, Annie. I'm going to fall asleep on my feet if I don't go home and hit the feathers. Come on, baby.
I'm more than willing. Good night, Ethelbert.
Here's the beers, pal. So long, kid.
Good night.
Hello, Casey.
What? Lock.
I've been waiting for you quite a while. You ought to have a better lock on your door. It was a cinch to slip it.
What's the big idea?
I want the pearl necklace, and you've got it.
Nuts.
Hand it over, fella, and you won't have to worry about this gun in my mitt. I may even slip you $1,000 or two.
Guess I'm dumb, Larkin. I don't get it.
To save argument, I'll tell you how I got the goods on you.
Yeah, that I'd like to hear.
Well, you see, I happened to have phoned to Pavel between the time the Loomis chick left and the Gardner dame blew in and out. And he answered the phone.
He was alive, then?
Yeah. Which means Mason killed him. But Mason didn't take the necklace. He was searched, I was searched, Waldo was searched. But you weren't searched, Casey.
I see.
I want those pearls, Casey. Gimme.
You said something about slipping me a few grand, Larkin.
I meant it. I'm not a hog. Whatever they bring over 50, I'll split with you.
It's a fair offer.
Live and let live, I always say. When it's possible to let live.
What? Make sure it's possible. I'll take that gun, you dirty double-crosser. I came home to get some rest.
Police headquarters.
Give me Captain Logan if he's still around, will you?
Just a minute.
Why did I go into the newspaper business?
Logan speaking.
This is Casey.
So what do you want? Whatever it is, the answer's no. I'm just leaving for home in some rest.
Forget it. Meet me at the Pavel's apartment as soon as you can get there.
What for?
To find those missing pearls and get a murderer.
Huh?
Yes, and incidentally, send a cop to my joint for a guy I envy.
What are you talking about?
Larkin is asleep on my living room floor, pal. Sleeping. Doorbell, Logan.
Sergeant Flanagan will answer.
Oh, you're back, Waldo.
Thank you for letting me in once more, Sergeant. How is the poor old dog?
He was asleep last time I looked at him.
May I see him?
Sure.
I am greatly attached to him. He belonged to the Baron, but he was really Oh, Captain Logan and Mr. Casey.
Hello, Waldo.
Hi, fella. Just looking over your kitchen again.
I've come to see the dog. I'm worried about him.
You've been here before tonight?
Yes, the poor old fellow is so weak. If he isn't looked after...
Look after him, Waldo.
Thank you, sir. Oh, he's still and cold. I think he's dead.
Really?
Poor old fellow.
The spaniel's dead, all right, Logan.
Yeah. Too bad.
Gentlemen, perhaps I'm unduly sentimental, but may I take him with me and bury him decently?
Why, certainly, Waldo.
Thank you, Captain.
After an autopsy is performed?
Autopsy?
It's a rule where a crime has been committed.
I never heard of that rule. Oh, very well, gentlemen. I'll call for his body later. Good night.
You're not leaving, Waldo.
Not until you talk.
What's the meaning of this? Let me go.
Talk, Waldo.
Talk.
I don't know what you mean.
You came into this apartment by the service entrance as Sylvia Loomis was telling to Pavel off. You saw your chance and made your plan.
You hit DuPavel with that statuette, thinking Mason would be blamed.
You'd just gotten the necklace when Mrs. Gardner let herself in.
You hid in that butler's pantry.
Miss Williams and I came in, you were stuck there, right?
The old dog offered you an out, you thought.
You mixed the pearls in the ground meat prepared for that spaniel.
You fed it to him right under our noses. After putting in some roach poison you had in his kitchen.
And then you posed as a dog lover while waiting for him to die so you could walk out with his body and the pearls.
Right, Waldo?
Yes. It was just as you say. Take me to jail, gentlemen. I'm very tired.
You're tired.
Are we tired?
now to the Blue Note in just a moment. Of the many special features which make Fire King oven glass different, housewives most frequently talk about how easy Fire King is to clean. Yes, Fire King oven glass is amazingly easy to clean. And if you use old-fashioned cooking utensils, you're in for a pleasant surprise as soon as you change to Fire King oven glass. You see, Fire King oven glass is a special non-porous surface that's literally mirror smooth. This surface is the result of a carefully controlled scientific process exclusive with Fire King. And that's one more reason why it pays to insist on Fire King oven glass by name. There is only one real and genuine Fire King oven glass. You'll find a wide variety of Fire King casseroles, pie plates, and general utility dishes in all sizes wherever household glass is sold, all at amazingly low prices. And you'll be charmed by the gleaming pale blue beauty of Fire King oven glass, a product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Wow, so you finally got a good sleep, Casey, huh?
Swell, Ethelbert. I feel like $1 million today.
Oh, if we could only spend the kind of money we sometimes feel like.
Ah, now you want to hoard that kind, Annie. Look at Artie Mason, Sylvia Loomis, Mrs. Gardner. Oh, well, phooey. Let's forget about the DePavel case.
Well, just to change the subject, Ethelbert, what do you think of the new styles for women?
Well, Miss Williams, as my sister Edna says, quote, it don't matter how women's fashions change, because their designs always remain the same, unquote. You get it? Designs, Casey. Designs.
You better change the subject again, Anna.
Definitely, Casey.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King oven glass, Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Fire Prevention Week. Even now, during this program, fires are breaking out in the United States at the rate of 1 every 38 seconds, with fearful penalties and loss of life, painful injury, property destruction. Do your part by observing the simple but all-important rules of fire prevention. Make every week a Fire Prevention Week. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS Columbia Broadcasting System.
This, I believe. There has always been, and probably always will be, a certain amount of corruption in government, people being what they are. But there are always fighting idealists, too. And Mrs. Genevieve B. Earle, first woman ever elected to New York City Council, is one of these. Here is her creed.
My early and unforgettable experience of city life occurred more than 50 years ago, when as a young country-bred girl, I rode with my mother on the 3rd Avenue Elevated in New York City. As the train clattered along that dreary thoroughfare, I gazed into the interiors of those dark, untidy, and crowded flats with a profound sense of shock. I asked my mother why people had to live that way. She explained that they were poor and could afford no better homes. I do not recall that I made any conscious pledge to find out why such things had to be, but many years later, when I studied the social sciences and economics, the remembrance of this preventable squalor returned with a renewed awareness. Still later, having undertaken private social and community work as a career, I began to realize that splendid and essential as these efforts may have been, I was trying to bail out an ocean of misery with a teacup. I became convinced that the city itself was our greatest social worker, because it was spending greater sums for related or similar work than all the private welfare agencies combined. I saw city government as a focal point of an ever-increasing program of service, a partnership which its citizens shared equally, designed to promote those things that are good and to combat those things that are evil. Archimedes explained the principle of fulcrum by saying, "Show me the place to stand, and I can move the world. To me, this place is city government. Touch that, and you touch the whole community." Thus, the weight of a finger at the right place can set in motion forces that can create a wholesome, decent environment for all people, and mold our way of living a little nearer to our heart's desire. The fight for good government, while a winning one, is never permanently won. It must be waged afresh each day. To keep eternally at this job is an act of faith and courage. To those who are faint-hearted or faltering, may I end by quoting from the oath of the young men of Athens. "We will never bring disgrace to this our city by any act of dishonesty or cowardice. We will fight for our ideals and sacred things of the city, both alone and with many. We will revere and obey the city's laws, and do our best to incite a like respect in those above us who are prone to annul and set them at naught. We will strive unceasingly to quicken the public sense of civic duty. Thus, in all these ways, we will transmit this city, not only not less, but far greater and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us." The job of being an alert, active citizen is exciting, relatively easy, and wholly rewarding. My many years in civic work as a citizen and as a public official convinced me that if each one of us did his or her share and lived up to the spirit of this oath, that his town, his nation, and the world would be a happier and a better place to live in. This I believe.
That was Mrs. Genevieve B. Earle, Brooklyn's First Lady, who believes that life can always be improved if you really want to try.
Crime does not pay.
For the last time, Matthew, there'll be no bookmaking in my candy store.
Says you, Uncle Dave.
Yeah, says you. Ain't gonna stop us, Uncle.
I'll stop you. I'll have a talk with Officer Conlon.
I wouldn't try that, Uncle Dave.
Stay away from me, you young hoodlum. Stay away. My brother's boy should turn out like this.
Afraid, Uncle Dave, of your own nephew.
Keep away, you hear? Keep away.
Don't, Joey. You fat rat.
Watch where you're walking, Uncle.
Don't touch me. Don't touch.
Perfect, Joey. Same old teamwork. Right over your back he went, like we used to do with sissies in school.
Yeah,
same old trick. Only he ain't getting up and running away.
Uncle Dave, get up.
Hey, he ain't moving. Must have hit his head. Knocked him out or something.
He hit his head, all right. Hey, we better get out of here. He's dead.
In the interest of citizenship and law enforcement,
we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Murder Makes Book, starring Joseph Wiseman. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joseph Wiseman as Matt Red Thompson in Murder Makes Book. He was born and grew up in a slum. Red Thompson was a boy in the gutter, literally as well as figuratively. There he made friends with Joey Goodwin and Lazy Clayton. They became a unit, those three, and whether their immediate pursuit was tormenting their school teacher as long as they stayed in school, or swiping fruit from an open counter, Red was the leader, Lazy the echo, and Joey the efficient assistant. When they were full grown, the activities changed, but the pattern remained the same. It was Red who planned the escapades, Red who saw no way out for them through legitimate channels, Red who found the easy way to get hold of money. And it was Red who decided when it was time to collect their winnings from a character named Bookie.
Okay, Bookie, pay off. Yeah, Bookie, pay off. Okay, boys, you don't have to take it like that. You won, didn't you? So you get eat off. How much? Nag paid $3.40. Here's the Mazuma. Hey, not bad at all. No, not bad. Should have put up more. Where from? I had to go to the old lady sugar bowl even for this. Yeah, where from? You got to put back? I get the old man on me with a strap if I don't. Hear that, Joey? Yeah. Okay, so put it back. Still got plenty for change. Yeah, why don't you kids get smart? We're smart? We ain't working, are we? Neither am I. But I don't take no risks. What do you mean? I pay off to you, see? But for every bet I pay off, I got a dozen I don't pay off on. So you get your $3.40. Me, I get about 10 times that. Even after I pay protection. Hey, not bad. What protection, Bookie? To Lou Kingsley. He controls making book in his territory, see? You don't pay off to Kingsley, you wind up in a cement jacket. Maybe I got a racket, see, but Kingsley, 100 bookies pay off to him. Say, $10 a day. That's $1,000 a day in Kingsley's pocket. Catch? Think about it, kids. I will say I hate to see smart kids getting played for suckers. See you around, boys. Don't take no wooden nickels. Suckers? That's what we are, suckers. Yeah, suckers. Never saw it like that before. Is Bookie any smarter than we are? He's got more dough. Any smarter? We can be smart, too. Sure, we can be smart. Where are we going to operate? Kingsley ain't going to let us in his territory. Even Bookie's got an office. Can't take no bets on the street. I got all the answers. Go on, answer. Look, over on the west side, out of this neighborhood, see? I got an Uncle Dave. He runs a candy store with a back room. He's always saying I don't visit him enough. The old dope. The back room, get it? Yeah, the back room. Office. Bet you there's even a nickel telephone. There sure is. You know, guys, I think Uncle Dave is going to see a lot of me and you from now on. Like the new suit, fellas? Not bad, huh? Yeah, you sure got it cut sharp, Lazy. I don't go for purple suits myself much. I couldn't wear it neither, not with red hair. Okay, not you, but on me it's good, huh? You stand out in the crowd, yeah. Hey, Red, how's the collections? Okay, doke. We didn't pay off to nobody yesterday, so we got another C-note in the till. Hey, when do I get my cut? I got a heavy date tonight. Not today. We're building up the fund, see? So if we got to pay off, we got some dough to live with. Matthew.
I want to talk to you.
Uncle Dave. Sure, talk all you want.
Tell your friends to get out.
Did you hear that, fellas? We heard it.
Yeah, so what? I guess the fellas don't want to go outside, Uncle Dave. They're comfortable here.
Too comfortable. Want me to say what I have to say in front of them?
Why not? We got no secrets, us guys.
Sure, no secrets.
Okay, now say it right out. When you came here, Matthew, to see me, 3 months 'tis now, I was happy to see my nephew. Now I don't care if I never see you again.
Uncle Dave, is that the way to talk to your favorite nephew?
If I had another nephew, you wouldn't be the favorite. You a bookmaker?
Oh, that's a nasty word, Uncle Dave. I don't make book, not ever.
Sure, not ever.
Yeah.
What gave you that idea, Uncle?
I'm not your uncle. I'm talking to Matthew. I know what you do. Why you hang around here so much? Why you use the phone every afternoon? It stops. It stops now.
What's the matter, Uncle Dave? You want to cut it a tape?
I want you to go away. Stay away.
Is that the way to talk to your nephew?
A nice store, nice people. Children come in all the time. I'll not have hoodlums in the back.
Oh, another nasty word. Oh, this'll get you nothing, Uncle.
For the last time, Matthew, there'll be no bookmaking in my candy store.
Says you, Uncle Dave.
Yeah, says you.
Ain't gonna stop us, Uncle.
I'll stop you. I'll have a talk with Officer Cannon.
I wouldn't try that, Uncle Dave.
Stay away from me, you young hoodlum. Stay away. That my brother's boy should turn out like this.
Afraid, Uncle Dave, of your own nephew?
Keep away, you hear? Keep away.
Down, Joey. You bet, Red.
Watch where you're walking, Uncle.
Don't touch me. Don't touch.
Perfect, Joey. Same old teamwork. Right over your back he went. Like we used to do with the sissies in school.
Yeah, same old trick, only he ain't getting up and running away. Uncle Dave, get up.
Hey, he ain't moving.
Must have hit his head. Knocked him out or something. He hit his head, all right. Hey, we better get out of here. He's dead.
All right, the three of you, sit down.
What for, Copper? We ain't staying that long.
Sit down.
Okay. We're sitting, Lieutenant.
Yeah, we're sitting, Lieutenant.
All right, never mind that. I'm no lieutenant till you know it.
Well, maybe we think you ought to be.
Tell that to the commissioner sometime.
Maybe I will.
Sometime. Maybe we will.
This I want to see. All right, you, Goodman.
Oh, yes, sir.
Where were you Wednesday afternoon?
Me? With the fellas.
And you, Clayton?
With the fellas.
Okay. Your turn, Thompson.
I don't remember exactly where we were. Around someplace.
You weren't in your hangout, Uncle Dave's candy store?
Come to think of it, that's one place we didn't go Wednesday.
Well, Andrews, anything? Nothing, Sergeant. Just the usual, but a little extra fresh. Extra fresh, eh? How'd your baby-faced mugs like a small trip downstairs?
I wouldn't advise it, Sergeant. You got no charge against us.
How about suspicion of murder?
Murder? Who'd we murder, Sergeant?
Your uncle. You know it.
But Uncle Dave fell. He hit his head, and the doctor said his heart gave out. Why, we even went to the funeral.
Fell or was pushed?
But, Sergeant, even if he was pushed, I don't think anyone can prove it. Uncle Dave was all alone in the store.
All right, Sugarmouth. We've had enough. Get out of here.
Yes, Sergeant. Yes, Sergeant. Yes, sir.
Stand where you are. Get this. We've had characters like you in here before by the dozen. You're all fresh and cocky your first visit. After a while, you all come down a peg or two. Finally, you wind up in the precinct tank. Or you get it in the others in your own little rotten rackets. Bear that in mind. Now beat it fast.
Funny kind of cops. Let us out like this.
Yeah, funny.
Save it till we hit the street.
Yeah, the house house at the Green Lakes Precinct cops, 2 for a nickel.
Did they got anything, Red?
They got nothing, not even brains.
Yeah, not even brains. Maybe we better lay low for a while.
Lay low? Are you crazy? Joey, from now on, we're going to expand.
Lou Kingsley, here we come.
Smooth. Nothing to do but count the dough.
Yeah, count the dough.
Except when some sucker hits one, then we gotta count it out.
So what? So once in a while we get hit, we pay. So the suckers like us, they keep coming back.
Do they, kid? That's good.
Bookie.
Yeah, okay. So you think you're glad to see me, huh? Okay.
Well, you tipped us to this racket, didn't you?
Now I got another tip for you. Straight from the feed bag.
A winner? For the honor?
Shut up, lady. Keep talking, Bookie.
This is from Kingsley.
Since when you so lovey-dovey with the big shot?
He knows I started you in business, so he sent me.
Yeah? So keep talking.
He wants you out of town.
What are you talking?
Says Kingsley. He also says, and by the way, that your crazy operation has the heat on for everybody, so out. Quick. By tomorrow.
Like this, just like this. Out, he says. So we're supposed to run.
Take my advice, kid. Kingsley's rough to tangle with.
You want an answer?
No. Why should he?
Gonna get one. Now, Joe.
Jack.
How'd you like a little pratfall, Bookie, like this?
Let me up.
Let him have it, fellas. There are a couple of flat guys. A busted rip back to his boss for our answer. Get out, says King. We're staying, says Red Thompson.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Murder Makes Book. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joseph Wiseman as Matt Red Thompson in Murder Makes Book. Red, Lazy, and Joey left bookies sprawled on the sidewalk and went about their business. They heard no more from Lou Kingsley, and their operation settled into the usual pattern, expanding in the usual way, until it was the head of an outfit with its own bookmakers in many spots throughout the city. Lazy's main job was collecting the daily tribute. Red and Joey were waiting for him on their usual street corner early one evening.
Lazy a little late?
What's the matter? You nervous or something, Joey?
Nervous. What for?
I don't know. You act like you got an itch or something.
Just thinking.
Thinking what?
It's awful funny. Kingsley never did nothing after we gave the business to Bookie. The cops, they ain't done nothing either.
Cops gotta have evidence, which they ain't got. Quit it, Joey. Everything's under control. Even Lazy. Hey, Lazy! Step on it. Joey's got a date tonight.
All right, keep your pants on.
Hey, look at that crazy bum drive.
This is the fire engine.
What's the matter, Red?
I don't know.
Hit the street, Joey. It's Kingsley. They got Lazy. They got Lazy. They get you, Joey. They get you. No, not okay. They got Lazy. They got Lazy. Let's get it quick. Still breathing, Red?
Dead. They cut him almost in half.
I told you it was funny. Kingsley never did nothing. I told you.
Shut up!
They'll get us, too.
If we get them first.
Get them? Who?
Kingsley. No, he gets something. Some joker pulled the cops. Let's go, Joey. Nothing we can do for Lazy now.
Well, Thompson. Glad to see you again.
Hiya, Doc.
Sit down.
Thanks. Well, Doc, what's the bad news?
Well, there isn't any, young man.
I don't get it.
There's nothing to get. There just isn't any news.
What you said, the lab reports, all the tests and stuff.
Everything's negative. I'd say that was good news, not bad.
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's good news, Doc, but it sure don't stop this bellyache.
We're in the same place, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, only bigger.
Frankly, I don't know what to tell you. There seems to be pain now.
There seems to be. Doc, you don't know. You ain't got it.
Yet our complete examination is negative.
Oh.
You seem to be in perfect health.
But you think I'm making this up?
Such things have happened before. Perhaps a psychiatrist.
Oh, no, not me. Not one of them.
I'm afraid there's nothing more I can do.
Oh, you gotta do something, Doc. You gotta. I can't stand much more.
No, for a young fellow, you seem to worry a great deal about your health.
Oh, you know, my father used to say, when you got your health, you got everything. Oh, Doc, look, maybe a hospital.
What for? As I said, you're not sick.
I ain't sick, but I got pains. Look, I was thinking if they watched me in the hospital, maybe they could find it.
For observation, you mean?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the way.
It's expensive, Mr.
Oh, what do I care for money? Doc, look, get me a room, will you? A private room. Let the docs work over me. Maybe they can find what's making me sick.
Well, Mr. Thompson, all alone?
Yes, nurse, until you came in.
What happened to your friend? Mr. Goodwin, I believe his name is.
He beat it. I mean, he left early. He had a date.
He must have been in a hurry. He usually stops at my desk to say goodnight.
Joey got a heavy date tonight. He was in a hurry.
Well, that's all to the good. I can get you settled for the night early. We've a busy floor tonight.
And I'm not so sick?
I don't think you're sick at all. I think you came here just for a rest.
No, you do you? Hey, what's your name? I just can't keep calling you nurse all the time.
Why not? There. Is that better?
Still better if I knew your name.
It's Tabor. You want fresh water in the jug?
Just Tabor, no first name?
Nurses never have first names, Mr. Thompson. Now you go to sleep. Good night.
Okay, Joey, you can come out now.
Hey, that's a killer. I wouldn't mind staying in the closet if she was in it with me.
All right, save the jokes, Joey. You got the heaters?
Bet your life.
Okay, now keep an eye on the hole outside. As soon as the coast is clear, we'll get going.
How much longer, Red? The dogs are barking something fierce.
Not long.
He dragged me all over town looking for Kingsley. It's 2 a.m. when you found him yet.
He always winds up at the hash house across the street. We just wait here and...
What about the hospital?
Oh, I'm sleeping like a little angel. Nobody go near the room. You heard the dame. We've a busy floor tonight.
But you gotta get back.
I'd say till 7. Uh-oh. Here's our pigeon. Bookie's with him. Ready?
Ready.
You know the routine.
Don't worry about that.
Okay. Hold tight, Joey. This one's a cinch. All right, Kingsley. Bookie, don't move your hands. Get into that alley.
Oh, it's the kids, boss.
Joey, keep your piece on Bookie. Move, Kingsley.
This way.
Keep going. Don't get too close. Okay, face that wall.
What do you want, Thompson? If it's money...
I don't do ice jobs for money.
Red, don't try nothing. Cut out, Bookie. If it's not money...
It's you. You cut lazy down. Now you're getting it, both of you.
No. I got a wife and kids now. You'll never get away with it. The cops know about you.
They'll never get this on me. You don't know it, Kingsley, but I'm so sick. I'm in a hospital right now. Matter of fact, the way we fixed my bed, it looks like I'm sound asleep, don't it, Joey?
Yeah. Let's get it over with, Red. Stop the gagging.
All right, sure. This bum knows why he's getting it.
Boys, please, I can't do nothing.
Shut up. Now you, Kingsley, right in the kidneys. That's it, Joey. Let's go. I hope he liked that. Getting it in the kidneys broke his back knee, didn't it?
Joey, I'll laugh. I got all the doctors in this joint trying to figure out what's giving me pains, which I ain't got.
You sure got a perfect alibi.
I'll leave it to Red Joey from now.
Well, how's the patient today?
Cops. Well, Sergeant, or is it Lieutenant by now?
Not yet, but pretty soon. After I get Kingsley's killer. You remember Detective Andrews?
Oh, sure. Hi.
You don't look sick, Thompson.
Oh, but I got terrible pains. None of the docs can find out what it is. Did you say Kingsley's killer, Sergeant?
That's what I said. Kingsley got in the back last night. And Bookie with him.
Well, what do you know? Stuck here in bed and I don't hear anything.
Didn't your pal tell you?
I didn't know nothing about it.
The papers are full of it.
So he's been here all day with me.
Here with you last night, too?
Joey had a date last night. He left early.
Interesting. Joey could have done it for you.
I didn't do nothing. Just had a date.
Who with?
I don't need no alibi. You leave my girl alone.
Where? A little gentleman. Thompson, where were you last night about 2 a.m.?
Right here. The night stuck me in around 9. The day nights woke me up at 7 this morning.
I've had about all I can take. Haven't you, Andrews?
Yeah, check, Sergeant. Miss Tabor, will you come in, please?
Hey, here it goes, Red. Hold your horses, Joey. Nothing goes.
Miss Tabor, please tell Mr. Thompson what you told me when I spoke to you a little while ago.
Why, that is, it's a custom here to look in on patients before we go off duty. I checked Mr. Thompson about 1:30 this morning. He wasn't in his bed.
I went down the hall.
But he had the pillows arranged under the blankets to look as if he were in his bed.
Well, you know good,
Shut up, you. We've got you cold. We talked to your pal's girl before we came here. She never saw him last night. The slugs we took out of Kingsley and Bookie will match your gun. You'll both fry. I only wish I could promise him, Thompson, but one will do as well as the other. Now get up and get dressed. If you're sick, you can go back to bed in the prison ward at City Hospital.
You got no case. You got nothing.
Andrews, take the other one downtown. I think we'll get something out of him.
No, I didn't shoot nobody.
He'll burn anyway, whether he pulled the trigger or not.
Sergeant, look, I didn't shoot nobody. But I saw it. I saw everything. I was
Shut
there.
up, Joey. You want what Kingsley got?
Been wanting to suck that punk for a long time. Nurse, you call an orderly. We'll get some clothes on him and start him on his way. Now that his pal has decided to sink. Crime does not pay. Joseph Wiseman, who was starred as Red Thompson in Murder Makes Book, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Joseph Wiseman.
I think it is worth examining, for a moment, the background against which Red and his friends grew up. It's a sadly familiar background to everyone. A slum with all its rotten conditions. Above all, with all its hopelessness. Of course, we cannot say simply wipe out slums and we'll wipe out crime and the temptations to crime. But once our slums are gone, a great deal of our crime, certainly the major portion of our juvenile delinquency, will have gone with them. Yes, this will be expensive, but no more expensive in proportion than a successful operation on one individual to remove a malignancy. Meanwhile, to continue the medical metaphor, the palliative costs go on. Police, special courts, property damage and maintenance. Above all, the millions siphoned each year out of channels of legitimate business into the pockets of organized crime. It is true, isn't it? For everyday citizens as well as for criminals, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Wiseman.
written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Garth. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turkis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
This, I believe. George Antheil is one of America's leading composers. He says he cannot remember any time in his life when he did not want to be a musician. He has written operas, symphonies, and many other works, including the modern classic Ballet Mécanique, which caused riots in Paris and New York during the 1920s. Because of his nonconformity, he has been called the bad boy of music. Here is the personal philosophy of George Antheil.
First of all, I believe in God. I believe in God mostly because I have come around to believing in Him all by myself. Nobody helped me. I am one of those who would resist help, especially in things concerning the spiritual. I came to believe in God because, over the many years, He time and time again made Himself manifest to me. To embrace the career of composer is tantamount to embracing a life of high adventure. One is constantly on the firing line, estimated, appreciated, often criticized harshly by one and all. There may be no atheist in foxholes, but there are none in the green room either, especially before the premiere of a difficult and intricate, and I hope always courageous musical work. Also, one cannot long work in the composition of music without coming to realize that one doesn't do it all by oneself. Something else is in operation, some great life force, something beyond description, except in as strong and subtle music as one can find and write. I do not know what it is, but as God has often been kinder to me than I deserve, I like to think that all this has something to do with Him. Secondly, I believe in music. When I am true to it, music is my friend. It consoles me in my hours of consternation and gives me added flight in my hours of luck. Music is mostly faith, but after that it is something that makes life, always beautiful, doubly worth living. I love music, and sometimes I even feel that it loves me back a little. But amongst those things I believe in most is laughter. This is a sad world. In my own short lifetime, almost everything one can imagine has happened to me personally. Sad things, tragic things, things which I have more often than not faced like a coward. Once, indeed, I almost lost my dear music. But even in my darkest moments, abandoned seemingly by all, I found that I was always saved if I could laugh. Laughter breaks evil spells, changes luck. Laughter is on the side of God. Mozart tonight sleeps in an unmarked pauper's grave. Hard was his life, and a veritable financial catastrophe. Yet this divinely perfect of all musicians knew how to laugh. Read his letters. His music laughed too, though it is always deeply moving, passionate, elevated. It also does what many of his contemporaries, now fallen by the wayside, could not do. It laughs. Listen to it. I was once asked what I would most deeply wish for my young son could I bestow but one quality upon him. Without hesitation I wrote back, a sense of humor. I could have said passion, for a passionate man is a living man. But passion too has its dangerous extremes. It too often brings great sorrow instead of happiness. I could have said happiness, but how could he know that he was happy if he was never to know sorrow? So I asked for the one quality which, added to any other which he may then develop, would make it possible to live with, to expand, to enjoy. God has been kind to me. Peter is now 17, has a marvelous sense of humor, and the house rings with laughter when he is home from high school.
Those were the beliefs of George Antheil, composer of Hollywood, California.
Calling all detectives. Many detectives never encounter a perfect crime. But I once ran into two of them on a single case. That is the situation on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. People often ask me, Jerry Browning, private detective, whether I've ever run into a perfect murder. The answer is yes, twice.
Attention, cars 12, 14, 15, 17. Proceed to 3742 Waverly Court, 3rd apartment, Harold Mannix, signal 34.
That's how it started, when I picked up the police call on my car radio. Harold Mannix was a friend of mine, a man who made his money backing ideas and inventions. Signal 34 meant that he'd been murdered. The police cars were drawing up before 3742 Waverly Court as I arrived. Lieutenant Dawson of Homicide met me at the door.
It's murder, all right, Jerry. Mighty carefully planned, too.
I looked beyond Dawson at the body of my friend slumped over a desk. Any idea who did it, Dawson? Dawson shrugged.
Somebody Mannix knew and trusted. He let the killer in, no sign of a struggle.
A cop came over to us.
We've got the safe open, Lieutenant. No money in it.
That's odd. Mannix always kept a lot of money on hand.
Looks like somebody tried to work a swindle on Mannix. Killed him when he got suspicious and cleaned out the safe.
I turned to Dawson. Yeah. And what's more, I think I know who it might be. A man who called himself Walker T. Driscoll. Mannix told me a couple of days ago that he was negotiating with Driscoll for an amazing invention, if Driscoll was telling the truth.
That sounds like a man, Jerry. What does this Driscoll look like?
I never met him, but I bet I will. When my friend Harold Mannix was murdered, I remembered that he'd mentioned the name of an inventor, Walker T. Driscoll. 2 hours later...
We've checked with the bank, Jerry. Mannix drew $150,000 in cash this morning. That money's missing. We've got no leads at all to this Walker Driscoll, no fingerprints, no description, no address, not one single thing.
Nothing more happened that day. But in the next morning's mail at my office was a letter from Harold Mannix. It must have been mailed only a few hours before he was killed, and asked me to visit him in order to discuss a checkup of Walker T. Driscoll, who claimed to have invented a new machine that would positively locate underground oil deposits. The letter mentioned that Mannix had drawn $150,000 from his bank as first payment on the machine, but that he would not pay out the money until I verified Driscoll's claim of being an expert geologist and mining engineer. I grabbed the letter and made a beeline for police headquarters.
Well, Jerry, I just got through trying to phone you. They caught Driscoll in St. Louis.
Caught him? How? We don't even know what the guy looks like.
He used his own name, was registered at a hotel. St. Louis police made a routine check. Driscoll said he was an oil man, so they grabbed him.
I shook my head. I don't get it. A man covers his crime that carefully and then registers at a hotel under his own name?
His idea is to bluff it out, defy us to prove it. You'll see.
I showed Dawson the letter I'd received from Mannix. Dawson read it over and whistled.
This'll cook Driscoll's goose. I'm going down to St. Louis to bring him back.
If you don't mind, I'll go with you. What is your name and profession? The man squinting into the spotlight was short, stocky, furtive-eyed. Looked more like a petty hoodlum than...
My name is Walker T. Driscoll. I'm an oil man.
Why did you have $150,000 in cash in a valise?
I want to buy oil wells.
From what bank did you draw the money?
I won't answer any more questions without a lawyer.
Well, he got a lawyer, waived extradition, and was brought back to town. The lawyer rode with us all the way, made sure we didn't question Driscoll any further. So far as I was concerned, I didn't want to question him. Driscoll was obviously no more an inventor, geologist, and mining engineer than I was King of Siam. I'd known the murdered man, Harold Mannix, and known him well. To me, it was impossible that Driscoll could have fooled Mannix even for a moment. Dawson, I tell you something's wrong. We've got the wrong guy. Nobody'd believe this punk's a mining engineer. Dawson was hugely amused.
Of course he's no mining engineer. His right name is Frankie Palace, gambler, suspected hold-up man, has a record as long as your arm.
Yeah, but was he ever a swindler?
Why, sure. He tried to swindle Mannix, didn't he?
I was still convinced we had the wrong man. I tried taking my suspicions to the DA and was tossed out for my pains. I tried talking to Driscoll's lawyer, who gave me a queer look.
Mr. Browning, the confidences of a client can't be violated by his attorney. My client, who calls himself Walker Driscoll, now admits that his real name is Frank Palace. But he claims to have assumed the name of Driscoll only to evade San Francisco police. He denies ever having met Harold Mannix.
Where does Palace say he got the $150,000?
He earned it, gambling.
That's the story the lawyer tried to tell in court. A jury of 12 men and women listened to it and then returned their verdict.
Guilty of murder in first degree.
Well, that's almost the complete story. I got the last bit of it 12 hours before Frank Palace, alias Walker T. Driscoll, went to the chair.
You're a square guy, Browning. I know you're trying to help me, but it wasn't in the cards. You see, I never did know Mannix. Never heard of him. But I run into this character, Walker T. Driscoll, on a train for St. Louis. I figure him for ready dough. He flashes big bills. On the train, I tell him about a big party in St. Louis and get him all excited. When we arrive, he sends his bags to the hotel and goes with me. I rent a car, drive out a ways, and let him have it. Then I bury his body good and deep, and when I come back to town, I go to the hotel, and I'm Walker T. Driscoll, so as I can get his bag and beat it. Except that as I step in, the cops grab me. Funny, ain't it?
And that is the complete story of two perfect murders. Like I said, criminals can be smart. So smart that they sign each other's death warrants. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives, mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, private detective.
Murder at midnight.
This is where he phoned from, and good Lord, there he is, lying under the call box. Dead? His throat cut from ear to ear. And there, look, right next to him. Another of those devilish chessmen.
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a moment in Death Across the Board. And now, Murder at Midnight, Tales of Mystery and Terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Robert Newman is Death Across the Board. It's about 11 o'clock on a sultry summer evening, and Dr. John Strand is standing in front of the window of a pawn shop in the oldest part of the city. There is the usual collection of odds and ends on display, and also some items that are rather unusual. On a sudden impulse, he pushes open the door and goes in.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Is there anything I can do for you?
No, thank you. If you don't mind, I'd just like to look around.
By all means. I just thought that if there was something in particular you were looking for, I have some very fine glassware. Hobnail, flint, and sandwich glass.
No, thank you. I don't go in for glass collecting. Hello, this chess set. It's a very interesting one. And a very interesting game you're playing.
My dear sir, you have no idea how interesting.
Whose move?
White's.
Oh, well, then White should win in 6 moves.
That, sir, is very much open to question.
Well, perhaps we can play sometime. How much for this set?
Oh, I'm awfully sorry, but it is not for sale.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yes. However, if you are interested in chess and chessmen, I know of a set that I think might appeal to you. It is an Arabian set, 12th or 13th century ivory, reputed to have belonged to Salah ed-Din. The white pieces are Saracen warriors, and the black pieces are crusaders.
You have it here?
Unfortunately, no. But it is not very far away, and if you thought you'd like to see it...
Well, if it's not too expensive, and if you're sure it's no bother...
My dear sir, don't give it another thought. I will be most anxious for your reactions, even if you do not buy. The address is 23 Valen Place. That is down 2 blocks and 1 to your right. Ask for Felix, and tell him that Raphael sent you.
23 Valen Place, and ask for Felix.
I will phone him. Tell him to expect you. Your name is...
Strand. Dr. John Strand.
Very good, Dr. Strand. Somehow I have the feeling that we shall see each other again.
All right.
Perhaps even have a chance to play that game you mentioned before.
Who is that? Who is there?
Felix?
I said, who is there?
My name is Strand. Rayfield sent me over here. He said he'd phone you and tell you...
Just a moment.
How do you do? I hope I'm not disturbing you.
Very well. Come in. Now, hold your hands up.
What? I'm afraid there must be some mistake.
There is. You have made it, thinking you could come here and take me in this way.
Well, but this is ridiculous.
I said hold your hands up. Keep them up.
Now, look, Felix, if that is your name, will you do me a favor and call Rayfield? He sent me over here to look at a chess set.
And don't move, do you hear? Stay right where you are with your hands behind your head. You so much as move. Hello? Oh. Hello, Raphael. Yes, he just got here. What do you think? I shall take him into the back room. Do it there. No. No one will hear. Right. I'll call you back. Very well. In there.
What for?
Because I said so, that's why.
Conceal! What? Drop that gun! Drop it, you hear? Oh, my wrist! I should have killed you right away. Okay, now get up and tell me what this is all about. Do you hear me? I said get up. Felix. Dead. Hello?
Felix?
I'm sorry, he can't come to the phone just now.
Oh, Dr. Strand. Congratulations.
What? Who is this?
This is Raphael. Now, do you think it is possible for White to win in 5 moves?
Well, what do you mean? What in heaven's name...
You killed him, did you not? Of course you killed him, or you would not be speaking to me now. May I suggest that you go through Felix's pockets, take out the most interesting thing you find there, and bring it to my shop?
What? Hello. Raphael. Goes through his pockets. Well, I've got to get to the bottom of this and find out what it's all about. A wallet, keys, and a chessman. A black rook. A black rook. All right, Mr. Rayfield. I think perhaps I'll take you up on that. I will go back to your shop.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Yes. Where's Rayfield?
I'm sorry, he's not in right now, but... Are you Dr. Strand?
I am.
I'm Alice Hines. He must have been expecting you, Doctor. He asked me to give you this.
What is it?
I don't know, but...
Another chessman. A white knight.
Oh, yes. Mr. Rayfield is quite a chess player.
Yes, he's more than that. He's a murderer.
What?
Or at least he has friends who are.
What do you mean?
I mean just that. He sent me to see someone, a man named Felix, to look at a chess set. And when I got there, this Felix pulled a gun on me, and when I tried to get it away from him, it went off and killed him.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't look so surprised and innocent. You work for him. You must know what it's all about. And that's what I came back here to find out before I called the police.
There must be some mistake. Some horrible mistake.
Yes.
I've only been working here for a few weeks, but he's been very nice to me. Kind and considerate.
A mistake, eh? Then why did he phone Felix while I was there? How did he know he'd been killed? Why did he laugh about it and tell me to come back here?
I don't know, but I can't believe that about him. I won't.
No, well, we'll see what the police have to say about it. Where's your phone?
Back there. But if you're serious about it, you don't have to bother calling them.
Why not?
Riley just went past here a few minutes ago. But there he is, up at the corner.
Fine, that'll save some time. Officer, would you come here a minute?
Oh!
Good Lord, someone shot him.
That woman hiding behind that car there. The woman in black. And she's coming in here.
Don't just stand there. Get inside and shut the door.
You shot Riley. Killed him, just like that.
Yes, 6 months I've been waiting, trying to find out who got my Ben. Now he'll rest in peace. Where's Rayfield?
Rayfield?
Yeah, it was him that got the dope for me. Told me how to knock the cop off, and he told me to come in here afterwards.
Well, Miss Hines?
I still can't believe it. I can't.
You can't believe what? Why are you looking at me so funny? Say, whose side are you on anyway?
Not ours, my dear. What? Not on our side.
Ah, so that's it. I just took it for granted that... Okay, get your hands up and keep them up. What'll I do with them, Rayfield?
I leave that to you, my dear. After all, they are witnesses.
Yeah, that's right.
May I recommend the cellar right through that door there? It's quite secluded and quiet.
Yeah, okay. Get moving.
I repeat, Miss Hines, well...
It's mad. Fantastic. What are you going to do to us?
You can't be that dumb, babyface. 6 months I've been wearing black for the only guy I ever loved. Finally, I got the guy that got him. You think I'm going to leave the two of you around to put the finger on me?
You mean you're going to kill us? But you can't.
No. Seems to me I did a pretty neat job on that flatfoot. After all, they can't burn you more than once, can they? Okay, open that door and go on down.
Allow me, madam.
Never mind, wise guy. You go down first and then babyface.
Well, it's not very good manner.
No, I'm not going to let you do it. Give me that gun. Look out, you fool. Look out.
Down there after her. And hurry. Watch her while I get the gun. Oh, that was nice work. I was going to try to take her myself.
I didn't mean to do it. I was just trying to get the gun, but she tripped, fell. Oh, Dr. Strange.
Yes?
Why is she lying there so funny? Her head.
Wait a minute, let me see. Oh, her neck's broken. She's dead.
Oh, no. That means I killed her.
Not any more than it means I killed Felix. Well, Miss Hines, I think you must believe me now. I ask you for the last time, do you know what's behind all this?
I told you I don't. Mr. Rayfield was always wonderful to me, and Oh, look. There, lying next to her. It must have fallen out of her bag. Isn't that another chess piece?
Yes, the Black Queen.
He gave me one, just like it when I first came to work for him. Only it was a white one.
What?
Yes, a white one.
Black Queen, White Knight, and... No, it's impossible. And still...
What is it?
It's too incredible. But I've just gotten an idea. A mad, fantastic idea that... Come on, we're going to the police.
Go ahead, Dr. Strand.
Mr. Rayfield.
By all means. But remember, it's
It's my move now.
Raphael's move. With 3 pieces removed from the board already, 3 corpses, and the hands of the clock still moving toward the witching hour, and more.
Murder at midnight.
And now, back to Murder at Midnight and Death Across the Board. It's about a half hour later, and sitting in the office of Police Chief Adams, Dr. Strand has just finished his account of everything that has happened. There is silence for a minute. And then, without looking at either Strand or Alice, Adams says,
So, you each bumped someone off, eh? And you've come here to give yourselves up.
No.
No, we certainly didn't come here to give ourselves up. I told you that in both cases it was self-defense. We're here because there's a madman loose, a homicidal maniac, and you've got to do something about him.
A guy that just goes around bumping people off for fun, eh? Or rather gets other people to do his killing for him.
Oh, no, there's much more to it than that. Much more.
Yeah? What?
Well, it just came to me a little while ago.
Well, that's nice.
There was something strangely familiar about this Raphael. Did you ever hear of Raphael Norbert?
No.
He was one of the greatest chess players in the world. Won practically every tournament in the books. And then about 5 years ago, he disappeared. Well, I believe he's playing another chess game now, the maddest game that ever was. Is there a map of the city around here?
Yeah, right there on the wall.
Now, let me see. Now, here's Raphael's shop. Yes, this would be it. This section of the city here, 8 blocks each way, this is his chessboard. And human beings, people like Alice and me, are his chessmen.
What?
John!
I know it sounds fantastic, but I think it's true.
Oh.
Now, when he sent me to Felix's, he told me to go down 2 blocks and 1 to the right. That's a knight's move. In other words, he had cast me as one of the white knights in his insane, murderous game.
Oh.
Alice was the white queen, he himself was the black king, and so on.
He just lined up all these people, said, you play this piece, you play that.
Oh, no. That was the beauty of the game, the fascinating, exciting part to him. No one knew that they were playing in it but he. Felix didn't know that he was a black rook any more than I knew I was a white knight. But Raphael's black pieces were all criminals of some sort who wouldn't hesitate to kill. And it was by killing that one piece took another. You see, that was the ultimate refinement of the game. He could plan a move, but he had no way of telling which piece would take which.
What do you mean?
Now, for instance, I killed Felix instead of his killing me. In other words, Raphael was not only playing his game against law and order, against society, but he was matching his brain against that of every other piece in the game.
Against law and order, eh? I got this in the mail a couple of weeks ago without any letter or anything like that. How would this fit in with your theory?
The White King. Of course. That means he's playing this game principally against you.
Now, do you believe us, Mr. Adams? Do you?
I don't know. Well, I suppose it's possible. We've been having a funny kind of crime wave lately. Killings without any apparent motive and... Excuse me. Hello?
Hello, Chief. Valenti speaking.
Yes, Valenti.
I'm down the corner of 3rd and Sycamore, and there's something kind of screwy going on. I was...
Hello? Hello? Valenti! What's the matter? One of our detectives down at 3rd and Sycamore, and it sounded like somebody got him. Now make sure about this before you answer, but would this be part of what you were talking about?
Well, let's look at the map again. 3rd and Sycamore. That would be in the area. That's Raphael's chessboard. Yes, I think it is.
Okay, come on. We're going down there and see.
There he is, lying next to the call box.
Yeah. He's dead. Stabbed.
John.
Yes?
Mr. Adams. Look there, lying next to him. Another chess piece.
Yeah, yes, a pawn. A white pawn. Well, of course. If you're the White King, then all your men would be pawns.
Pawns, huh? They're the pieces that get pushed around, aren't they?
Well, they're the ones that are usually sacrificed.
Two of my men, Riley and Valenti. Okay, Strand, if this Raphael wants to play, I'll play with him.
Then you do believe it?
Yes. You're a chess player, Strand. Do you think you can figure out what this Raphael character is going to do next and tell me how I can meet him?
I might. I only got a very quick look at the board, but if I could remember the location of the pieces...
You mean he's actually got a board set up showing where all the pieces, everybody is?
There's one set up on a little table right next to his desk. No one's allowed to touch it.
That's the one. I think I remember the position of the pieces that were left, but some moves may have been made since I saw it.
Well, what are we fooling around here for? Let's go to the shop and make sure.
That's the store right there.
Well, it's all dark. Doesn't look as if anyone's there.
Locked, all right. You have a key, haven't you, Alice?
No. Raphael never gave me one. He always locked up himself.
Well, what do we do?
Two of my men killed and you ask me a question like that? You think I'm going to play legal and wait for a search warrant? Look out. Okay. Now, where's the light?
Right here. There's the chessboard over there.
Yes, I know. Let's take a look at it.
This all there is to the place?
Except for the cellar. She must still be down there. The woman in black...
We'll go down there later. Well, Strand?
Well, at the moment, Black seems to have the edge on us. Several moves have been made, and we've lost several pieces, but we've still got a fair chance.
Oh, the devil was winning that game. Where's this Raphael guy, the Black King, and what's he going to do next?
Well, now, wait a minute. Just give me another minute or two, will you? The Black King is still in his own square, which would seem to mean that he's still here someplace. But the thing is, I'm not sure whose move it is now.
Oh, hi, Dr. Strand. I am still here, and it's my move.
What the thunder? There's Raphael speaking over some kind of a loudspeaker system, maybe from the cellar.
All right, I'm going to see. I'll find out.
Oh, John!
Oh, Alice. Alice, where are you?
Here. Right here.
Are you all right?
I think so. What was it? What happened?
Well, he must have had the place mined or set a booby trap. And when Adams went to open the cellar door, Where is Adams?
I'm not sure, but I think he's over there.
I must have some matches someplace. There's here. Oh, under that beam there.
Oh.
Help me lift it off.
All right. Oh.
Okay. Adams.
Is he?
No, but he's badly hurt and losing blood. We've got to get him to a hospital fast. Now watch it. This way. The emergency ward is right in there.
How do you know?
Well, I ought to. I interned here. It's funny there's no one around. Now, put him right there on the table.
All right.
Easy. That's it. Hello. This is Dr. Strand speaking from the emergency ward. I have a very severe accident case here. Is there anyone around who can take care of him? What about surgery? Crandall? Oh, fine. Will you ask him to get down here as soon as possible? Thanks. The chap I used to know has just finished an operation. He'll be down right away.
Will there still be time?
Yes, I think so. We'll have to give him a transfusion once we get him patched up. Now, I'd better rustle up a sterile uniform for myself in case Crandall needs a hand. If I remember, they used to keep them in here.
Isn't there anything I can do?
Just keep an eye on him. The tourniquets particularly. It'd be just too bad if he lost any more blood.
Right. He's still unconscious, but I think...
That you, Crandall? I'm awfully glad you're here. Pretty serious case. Adams, chief of police. An explosion.
Oh?
There's no time to go into the whole story now. But if we don't work fast, we may lose him. I only had a chance to make... What are you doing?
Removing the tourniquets?
No, wait. I'm not ready with the ligatures yet. You're not Crandall. You're Raphael.
What?
Right, Dr. Strand. Raphael Norbert. Dr. Crandall is still in surgery, locked in, as a matter of fact. I put on this mask and gown not because I thought it would fool you, but because, well, somehow it just seemed appropriate.
But it can't be you. You were in the shop.
No, Dr. Strand. If you're thinking of my voice, as you guessed, it was coming over a loudspeaker system from next door. And if you're thinking of my position on the chessboard, you forget that I had not made my move yet, huh? You probably expected a Brodsky endgame. That would have been the classical move. But I played a variation of it.
You castle.
Right.
What?
I know you do not play chess, my dear Miss Hines. Castling is a move in which the king changes places with one of the castles or rooks. It was a move which brought me here to the hospital, waiting for you.
Mr. Raphael, I don't know why you've done everything you have, and I don't care, but you've got to let us do something about Mr. Adams. All that blood he's losing.
Yes, Raphael, for heaven's sake.
Do not move, either of you. I do not want to have to shoot, but I sincerely hope it will not be necessary. After all, when the chief dies, the game will be over. And the most interesting game it has been.
But haven't there been enough deaths already?
Oh, you are very sentimental, my dear. I'm afraid you would never make a good chess player. Pieces have been taken, that's all.
But suppose we just give up. Say you've won.
That's right, Raphael. We'll concede you the game, but let me do something about Adams. There's still time. I've got everything ready here, all the instruments.
No, Dr. Strand. This is one game I will not concede. That I insist on having played out to the last move.
Well, if that's the way you want it, all right. And if I'm not mistaken, it's my move now. And here. The formaldehyde won't help them any. Get his gun, Alice?
Yes.
Watch him while I get these tourniquets back on Adams.
Do you think you can still save
Yes, his pulse is weak, but I think we can still save him. As for you, Raphael, you made one bad mistake. You forgot that 3 of us came to your shop. The White King, White Queen, and White Knight. That would put you in check. And you can't castle when you're in check.
I bow, Dr. Strand. I felicitate and congratulate you. But if I am to lose, I prefer to lose in my own way.
Look out, Alice! Watch it!
He went through the window. Shall I call the police? Get them to go after him?
No. There's a railroad underpass right outside. A drop of about 60 feet. I think that's game, match, and tournament.
One last move, and the game is over. Over as we like to have all our stories end, with a final...
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death moves his black chessmen and the clocks strike 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
The part of Dr. John Strand was played by Eric Dressler. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M.
This, I Believe, Hear the views of a busy businessman who still has time and energy for hospitals and orphans and general welfare work. George B. Beitzel, president of the Pennsylvania Salt Company, chemical manufacturers.
The other day, a friend and I were discussing the general state of affairs. We both agreed that our generation cannot be very happy or proud about the world we will pass along to our successors. My friend asked me what I thought was wrong, and I answered something to the effect that in every walk of life we needed to return to Christian principles. He interrupted me. He said that was a perfectly respectable statement, but it didn't mean a thing unless I could explain it in terms of my own personal experience. He thought one of the main reasons people are so troubled and so cynical today about what we might call the spiritual values of life is that in church and in school and in business, everywhere, we do a lot of pious talking about things like brotherly love and teamwork and fair play, and let it go at that. We don't follow through in all the way that we live or behave or even think. We quote the Bible, we repeat the wisdom of some favorite philosopher with a guilty, foolish hope that in some magic way the words themselves will fix everything. I had to admit to my friend that he was right, and I began to wonder about what I believed in, why I believed in it in terms of my own life. The answer that emerged was neither very unusual nor very profound. It is simply that I believe in God and in the application of the Golden Rule. Now, obviously, one reason for such an answer is that my parents taught me to believe these things, and I accepted them first because they said I should. But today, as a supposedly mature adult, my reason and my experience tell me that they are both fundamental and sound. I can say that I believe that only in the operation of Christian principles will the world really get together. But that is a hollow, pompous phrase, unless I reduce it to my own personal level and say I believe individuals have to learn to get along with each other first, because nations are made up of individuals, and one of them is myself. This is very important. It means that my own thoughts, my own behavior, are not inconsequential. They have an impact on the people I know, come in contact with. Then they react on others in a widening circle, like the ripples from a pebble thrown into a pool. Yet I must not get a distorted idea of my own importance. It has worried me that in this great rich country of ours, it is so easy for us to become smug and forget the attention to personal and spiritual values. With all the things we have, we get to feeling pretty secure, that nothing much matters but ourselves. Most of us, or more of us than ever before, have jobs and food on the shelves, money in the bank, and thus we say, so what? I think we need more humility. I think we need to be reminded that individually and collectively we are just mortals, that only as we live Christian lives do we really contribute to the welfare of the world. These are not new thoughts. I think it is time for men to make some positive statements, not only to others but to themselves. I'm a businessman, not a minister. Perhaps I express myself in these matters rather clumsily, but I am sincere. I know that we can never have Christianity operating an effective force among nations unless it is first applied to the relationship of individuals. I believe that it is time for me to acknowledge, to and for myself, that God is the Lord, to rediscover my personal relationship with Him. That I must try my daily life to live and practice the Golden Rule.
That was George B. Beitzel, a Philadelphia chemical manufacturer who, his friends testify, gives service and not lip service to his beliefs and does not take his faith lightly.
What's the matter? What is it?
Another case for Nick Carter, master detective.
Yes, it's another case for that most famous of all manhunters, the detective whose ability at solving crime is unequaled in the history of detective fiction. Nick Carter, Master Detective, presented by the three great Linex home brighteners: Linex Clear Gloss, Linex Cream Polish, and Linex Self-Polishing Wax, created by Acme, America's great producer of Acme quality paints. Today's curious adventure:
Death by Ricochet.
or Nick Carter and the mystery of the abandoned gravel pit.
In just a moment, we'll hear how Nick solves the mystery of how the bullet from the abandoned gravel pit killed the heir to the Marquis' fortune. But first, here's something you should know. Millions have found what wonders Chemtone, the miracle wall finish, can do for walls. Now, millions more are learning what amazing new beauty the 3 great Linex home brighteners bring to floors, woodwork, and furniture. Linex Clear Gloss Varnish, the durable super varnish that dries to an elastic transparent surface which protects all wood and linoleum in your home. Linex Cream Polish, which cleans as it polishes, leaving no oily film on your furniture. And Linex Self-Polishing Wax, which beautifies your floors with a satiny yet tough non-skid finish that resists wear, water, and dirt. You'll find the 3 great Linex home brighteners at your hardware, paint, or department store. Your headquarters also for Chemtone, the miracle wall finish. And now for today's mysterious adventure with Nick Carter. As we open our story, Nick is talking with a young friend of his whom Patsy has just brought in.
But if it's not a criminal case, John, why come to me?
Because it's the next thing to it, Nick.
Well, all right. Let's hear it. Well, better take notes, Patsy, in case we want them later.
Of course, Nick. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Nick, I killed a man this morning.
What?
Oh, it was an accident, of course, but he's dead just the same.
Well, tell me about it. What happened?
Well, I was shooting in the old gravel pit back of my place on the highway. I've been shooting there a lot, getting ready for the pistol meet that's coming up. Well, this morning I was practicing out there when one of my slugs hit something and ricocheted. I never dreamed that a ricochet could get out of the gravel pit, but this one did, and traveled as far as the Marquis estate.
You mean the Clara Marquis estate?
Yeah, that's right. And the man I killed was her son, Randolph.
Well, that certainly ought to make front page copy.
I should say so.
Patsy, get me her file out of the file room.
Coming right up, Nick.
Now, John, where was Randolph when he was hit?
At the back of the estate, helping one of his nephews rebuild the fence. The nephew, Dave Barton, said he heard the shot, and then the whine of the bullet, and then Randolph fell over. He died instantly.
Here you are, Nick. Our file on Clara Marquis.
Thanks, Patsy. Now, let's see. Lives in a rambling old red brick mansion a mile out of town along the highway. No servants. That's funny, with all her money. Relatives living with her take the place of servants. Her son, Randolph, acts as general handyman on the estate. She handles all business matters herself.
Jolly old soul, I should say.
No one ever accused old Clara Marquis of being jolly. I've tried to get better acquainted with her granddaughter, Teresa, but the old lady won't let me take her out or go there to see her. I only know Teresa from what little I've seen of her around town and the few times I've driven her home. Now that I killed her father, I suppose I'll never see her again.
Wouldn't be in love with her, would you?
No. Do you think I can be sued for Randolph's death?
Well, what's the coroner's verdict, you know?
Well, he told me he was going to report it was an accident.
Now, John, how far is it from the gravel pit to where Randolph was killed?
About a quarter mile. The Brundage place is in between. Old man Brundage was out picking berries in the back of his place. He says he heard the bullet whine over his head.
I suppose there's no doubt about the time?
No, the sheriff checked on that. Randolph was killed while I was shooting in the pit. No mistake about that.
I see. Was the bullet identified as coming from your gun?
Well, not exactly. It was too badly mutilated, the sheriff said, to be identified as having come from any particular gun. It was all flattened and twisted.
Well, from what you tell me, John, it looks as if you're responsible, all right. For the funeral expenses and so on, at least.
Well, I know that, Nick. I just want to be sure I don't get hooked for what money I've got saved by a damage suit later on. That's why I want you to investigate this for me right away. I want to have it proved an accident so that nothing can come up later to put me in the wrong more than I am now.
Yes, I see what you mean, John. You want me to be sure that we know now all there is to know. Then we file that information away and hope we never need it, right?
That's it exactly, Nick. Will you do it?
Why, certainly, John. I have nothing else on my hands for the moment. Shouldn't be a long job, nor a difficult one. Now, first, I want to have a look at your gravel pit.
All right. I won't be there, but Mother will let you in. I don't suppose there's any chance I didn't fire the shot that got Randolph.
Well, the chances are you did, John. I want to determine the degree of negligence involved. If there's none on your part, you can hardly be held liable for the accident.
Okay, Nick. I'll leave it to you. I'll be seeing you.
Right, John. And don't worry. I think I can clean this up for you.
It doesn't seem possible that a .45 bullet could get out of that gravel pit. And especially not going fast enough to travel a quarter of a mile afterwards.
Strange things happen with bullets sometimes, Betsy.
I suppose.
You heard what Mr. Brundage said.
Yes, according to him, about as many bullets come out of the gravel pit as stay in. Said he's heard them whizzing over his head many a time.
Well, he was probably exaggerating. But there's no question but what he heard the one that killed Randolph Marquis this morning. Said it went only about a foot or so over his head.
Is that possible, Nick?
Oh, yes, indeed. Perfectly possible. And from the way John May's target is set up in the pit, a bullet that did get loose might very well come right across Brundage's berry patch.
Well, I certainly hope you find some way to prove Mr. May didn't do it. He's such a nice fellow.
I don't expect to prove that, Patsy.
You don't?
By the way, how well do you know Teresa Marquis?
Not too well.
Think you could use her name to get us in to look over the grounds, in case the old lady objects?
Oh, gosh, Nick, that's a big order. Nobody has any say around there but old Clara herself, so I understand. I'll try it. What can we lose?
Atta girl. Let's attack them from all sides at once.
It's so nice of you to see us, Miss Marquis. This is Nick Carter. He's acting for John May.
You can tell John, Mr. May, that we won't make him any trouble for the death of my father.
I knew you'd feel like that.
You can also tell him I never want to see him again.
Now, Teresa, I'm afraid you're blaming John May for something he couldn't help. We've just been to look over his gravel pit, and it seems utterly impossible that a bullet could get out of there and travel so far after getting out. I'm sure...
If you're trying to tell her what happened wasn't May's fault, you can get going. And right now.
How do you do? I'm merely trying to find out just how it did happen.
Mr. Carter, this is my cousin, Dave Barton. He was with my father when he was killed.
You're in charge here, Mr. Barton. I'd like your permission to examine the grounds around where Randolph was killed.
Nobody's got the right to say who can snoop around here but Clara Marquis herself.
Surely she could have no objection to
You'll have to get out.
Dave, if you won't show Mr. Carter around, I will. I know Grandmother wouldn't mind.
You're a fool, Teresa. But, well, come on.
If I can do anything else for you, let me know.
We were putting up a new fence here, Brandy and I. We've been working out here for several days. We could hear young May shooting down in that pit of his all the time. This morning it was different. The shot sounded the same, only this time I heard the whine of the bullet right after it. Now there, here's where Randy was standing. I was down there. The time I got to him was deader than a doornail. If I could get my hands on that young lady.
Barton, is that fence over there about 30 feet? The edge of your property?
Yes. The bushes there on Brundage's side. He was picking berries out there somewhere this morning when Randy was killed.
Nick, would you hear the shot before you heard the whine of the bullet going by?
Certainly, Patsy. You would with an Army .45, which John was using. Because of the size of the bullet, its velocity is slower than that of sound, so you'll hear the report before you hear the bullet. Somewhat,
Mr. Carter, Grandmother's very ill. We sent for the doctor, but she heard that you were here and for some strange reason wants to see you right now.
Mrs. Marquis wants to see me? You sure?
Very sure, Mr. Carter. She insisted. Can you come right away, please?
I've heard about you, Nick Carter. I never thought I'd have any reason to hire you, but it's a strange world. I think heaven sent you here today.
Well, Mrs. Marquis, I've been called many things, but never heaven sent.
There you are this time. My time has come at last. I know it. Dr. Sutton always said a shock would finish me, and Randolph's death has done it. I know.
Nonsense, Mrs. Marquis. You live for years yet.
Rubbish. I'll be dead by tomorrow. And I want you to make a will before I go. That's why I wanted to see you alone like this.
But, madam, I'm not a lawyer.
I know what you are. And I know you're honest. You can draw up a will, can't you?
Yes, of course I can.
Very well, then. Do it. I've never had a will, and I want one.
Oh, very well. If you'll tell me what disposition you want made of your property, I'll draw it up for you.
Well, that's easy. Half my estate goes to Teresa. The other half is to be divided equally between my other 5 grandchildren.
I see. And who's to be executor?
Teresa. She's the only one of the whole bunch I trust.
Of course, I'll have to have the names of the 5 grandchildren.
Of course you will. Of course you will. They're Bartons. David, Forrest, and Jack. And the twins, Myrtle and Hazel.
Very well, Mrs. Marquis. I'll have this ready for your signature in the morning.
No, morning, nothing. You'll have it ready for me just as soon as you can get it written down on paper. There's an old typewriter in the library you can use. Now, hurry up, Mr. Carter, and let's get this over with.
May I come in, Nick?
Oh, yes, Patsy. I've finished what I'm doing.
You've been writing out the old lady's will?
What makes you think that?
I can't think of any other reason why you should lock yourself up in this musty old library and spend an hour pounding on a typewriter.
You're quite right, Patsy. But keep it to yourself.
Does she take good care of Teresa?
None of your business, my inquisitive young assistant.
All right, suit yourself. I came to tell you the doctor's here. He says you'll have to wait before you can see Clara. She's lapsed into a coma.
What?
Says she may come out and she may not. But if she does, her mind will be clear enough to sign the will, in case that was what you wanted.
Oh, what a bunch of mind readers around here. Okay, I'll wait.
Oh, by the way, Nick, we're invited to dine with the Bartons tonight.
Oh, good. I'm getting hungry.
You haven't seen the rest of them yet. Maybe you won't be so happy about it when you do.
Why? You seen them?
I'll say I have. Besides Dave Barton, the man we met when we first got here, there's Forrest. He's sort of a dope, apparently. And there's Jack, a rather good-looking kid of about 20. And, last but not least, there are the twins, Myrtle and Hazel.
They cute?
Cute. They're 30 if they're a day. They look 40 and act 50. They're a pair, no mistake. And incidentally, we're eating in the kitchen, if it interests you.
Where we eat is secondary, Patsy. It's the eating part of it that really interests me.
That kitchen is something, too. I just saw it. It's the most home-like part of the whole house. Cozy and comfortable. I don't think it's a bit bigger than Madison Square Garden. And with a shotgun behind the door to add just the right touch.
Now, Patsy, I want you to take care of this will I've drawn up. The moment old Clara comes to, have her sign it. And if you're fond of Teresa, pray that the old lady does come to before she dies.
All right, Nick, I'll take care of it.
Good. Now I'm going to call John May and tell him to come here to the Marquis estate about 8 o'clock.
Well, why do that, Nick? You may start something.
Maybe, but I think it's the wise thing to do. I want you to find Teresa and persuade her to go and meet him in the drive when he blows his horn twice. Now, that's important.
Okay, Nick. She's to meet him in the drive when he blows his horn twice.
I still don't get it, Nick. Couldn't you find a better time and place for me to meet Teresa?
A better time, perhaps, but not a better place. John, I want you to take Teresa away from here, at once.
Are you kidding?
I am not. The odds are that you'll be saving her life. Before morning, she may be in deadly peril. Believe me.
Okay, Nick. I'll take her. If she comes...
Oh, John. John.
Teresa. Oh, darling.
John.
Which is my cue to...
Early this morning, a shot rang out and Randolph Marquis fell dead. Once again, a shot has startled the Marquis household. Who is dead this time? And what will be its effect on Nick Carter and his attempts to learn the real facts behind Randolph's death? We'll see in just a moment. If you're having difficulty keeping your floors spick and span these slushy winter days, here's the answer. You needn't have track-in trouble at your house, not when you use Linex Clear Gloss Varnish to protect your floors. You see, Linex Clear Gloss Varnish resists both water and dirt so that they're easily wiped away. And Linex Clear Gloss provides an elastic, durable finish that really wears, retaining its lustrous, transparent beauty for a long, long time. Yet it's easily brushed on, and it lessens your housework amazingly. Linex Clear Gloss even resists damage by hot grease, boiling water, fruit acids, perfume, and alcohol, making it the ideal protection for every wood and linoleum surface in your home. Yes, Linex Clear Gloss Varnish is the finest household protective finish you can buy. Depend on it, as so many wise homemakers do. Ask your dealer now for Linex, Lin-X, Linex Clear Gloss Varnish. You'll find all three great Linex home brighteners and Chemtone, the miracle wall finish, at hardware, paint, and department stores everywhere. And now, back to our story. The report of the shotgun, which startled Nick and the rest of the Marquis household, seemed to come from the room where Clara Marquis lay dying. Nick and Patsy raced to the door of the room, only to find the twins, Myrtle and Hazel, standing in the doorway, staring fascinatedly at the old lady's bed.
What's happened? What was...
Don't look at her, Patsy.
Oh.
Oh, it's ghastly. Her face has been blown away. Why, Dr. Sutton. Dr. Sutton.
What's happened to him, Nick?
Why, he's out cold, Patsy.
Oh.
Blow in the back of the head, I should say. Dr. Sutton. What's happened to you, Doctor?
I don't know. I was alone here with a patient. Something hit me. That's all I know. I don't even know where whoever hit me came from.
Well, whoever hit you did for the old lady, all right. Did either of you girls see anything?
No.
Where are your brothers? Where were they when this happened? Oh, come on. You might as well tell me if you know. Oh, all right. I'm going to call the sheriff's office. Do you suppose you two could sort of stay here with the body until someone gets here?
We'll stay.
Well, there's nothing more I can do for her now. I think I'll get some fresh air. Want to step outside with me, Mr. Carter?
Why, of course. I'll be right with you. Oh, Patsy.
Mm-hmm.
Will you pack up the doctor's things and bring them out to the car?
Surely, Nick.
All right, Doctor. Let's get out of here.
Terrible thing, Mr. Carter. Terrible.
Yes, it is. Poor old lady.
She wouldn't have lasted the night anyway. What I wanted to tell you was this. Patsy said it was very important to Teresa to get that will signed. So I gave the old lady an injection which revived her long enough to read the will. And she signed it, and Patsy and I witnessed it. Was that right?
Perfect, Doctor. Perfect. You have the will now?
No, I gave it to Patsy.
What?
Well, you trusted her with it, so I did.
Clara's murderer finds Patsy, has it? Patsy will be the next victim.
Oh.
Come on. I wonder if she's still in Clara's room where we left her.
I didn't know. I should have...
Patsy. Patsy. She's not here. Do either of you twins know where she went?
No, she left. We thought she was with you. Didn't we, Myrtle? Yes. We thought she was with you.
Oh, come on, Doctor. We've got to search the house. There's no time to lose. Well, Doctor, we've been through this house from cellar to attic. She's not here anywhere. I don't like it.
How about the carriage house? There's a light upstairs there.
Oh, yes, so there is. Well, let's have a look up there. Oh, that's funny. John May's car's still here.
Yes.
Didn't take Teresa away after all. Wonder why. Well, I hope we find Patsy up here.
Merciful heavens.
Oh, Martin, stop that. Let John alone.
You keep out of this. This dirty murderer's getting what coming to it. The law won't do nothing to John May, but we will.
Martin, if you touch him again, I'll shoot to kill.
You wouldn't have the nerve.
There's plenty of nerve for cowards like you.
All right. You're on top for now. But we'll get him later. See if we don't.
Now, you two. Forrest and Jack. Let Teresa go.
All right.
Take that gag out of her mouth. Be quick about it.
Oh, Mr. Carter. Oh, thank heaven you've come.
Oh, Doctor, you better have a look at May. He's pretty badly beaten up. The only thing holding him up are the ropes tying him to that post.
Yes. He's in a pretty bad way.
Dave must have hit John at least 20 times.
What happened, Teresa?
Well, they got John right after you left and made me come with them. They brought us up here and tied John to the post so that he couldn't defend himself. Then they gagged me.
Hold on. You mean that all three of them, Forrest, Jake, and Dave, have been with you since right after I left you with John?
Why, yes. Why? Has anything happened?
I'll say there has. Take care of things, Doctor. I've got a job to do. Now, where is she? Where have you got her?
Got who?
What have you done with her? Now, in the closet, I suppose. What the... Why, that's not...
Drop that gun.
Don't be a fool. Take that shotgun out of the middle of my back.
You're a fool. Drop that gun.
Very well. Here. Since the body in the closet is that of old Clara, I suppose you must have Patsy under that sheet on the bed.
Yes.
What have you done to her?
Not much. We had to twist her arm a little to make her tell us where she put the will, that's all. Isn't it, Myrtle?
Yes. We have it now. It's torn in little pieces.
All right. So you've got what you wanted. Now let us go.
No. We got us a lawyer, too. We know you and your girl could go to court and tell what the will was, and that would be as good as a will. Yes, we aim to take care of you both.
You can't get away with this. I warn you.
Yes, we can. Easy. We'll say Teresa did it.
Yes, we will. You didn't suspect us, neither will anyone else. We'll blame Teresa.
Well, Patsy, I've heard about enough, haven't you? Oh, you don't? Sorry to hear, woman, but... All right, Patsy. That takes care of the twins for now. Now, let's see what you look like under that sheet. Wait a minute. Wait till I get this gag out of your mouth. There.
Oh, Nick, I thought you'd never get here. How'd you ever get away from that gun she was holding in your back?
I've studied commando tactics, Patsy. One thing I learned was that if someone is holding a gun at your back, you can twist away from the gun faster than if someone can pull the trigger.
Oh.
Try sometime.
Thanks. I'll take your word for it gladly.
So, with Hazel, or Myrtle, not cold from the recoil of that 10-gauge shotgun, and Myrtle, or Hazel, out cold from the sock on the jaw I was supposed to give her, we have peace. Temporarily.
Peace. Blessed peace. Even temporary peace.
I hope the sheriff gets here pretty soon now. I'd like to get rid of these two vipers.
Viperesses, Nick.
Viperesses. Before they try biting someone else. They had me fooled completely at first, Sheriff. I didn't believe either of those twins could handle as big a gun as a 10-gauge shotgun. Yet I felt sure, as soon as I saw that shotgun, that the .45 bullet that killed Randolph Marquis came from its barrel.
But why? Old man Brundage said he heard it whine over his head.
Well, the whine of a ricocheting bullet, John, is one of the most deceptive sounds in the world. You can't tell really where it comes from.
But I was right with Randy. I didn't hear any gun fired close. It was fired from the gravel pit, and the bullet came whining.
Of course it did, Barton. The twins were clever enough to pick a mutilated bullet out of the gravel pit where John May shoots. They loaded it into a 10-gauge shell and fired it from behind the bushes on Brundage's property. The bushes acted as a silencer, probably. Both Brundage and Dave heard the whine it set up and assumed it was a ricochet from the pit.
Who'd ever think a woman would figure out a way to load a 10-gauge with a banged-up bullet and then lay for a guy and shoot when somebody else shoots a quarter mile away?
Why did they do it, Mr. Carter?
Money, Teresa. Money they'd inherit from your grandmother, Clara Marquis.
But I don't get it, Nick. How would Randolph being dead benefit the twins? His daughter would get his share, wouldn't she?
Not if Clara didn't leave a will. That's the point around which everything else revolves, Patsy.
But how does that work out, Nick?
According to the law of the state, if the old lady left no will, Randolph would inherit 1/2 the estate. And the 5 Bartons would inherit the other half, or 1/10 each.
And if Randolph was dead?
With Randolph dead, the 5 Bartons and Teresa, Randolph's daughter, would each inherit equally, or 1/6 of the estate apiece.
Well, how much difference would that make?
Well, figure it out, Patsy. If the estate amounts to $3 million, as I understand it does, each twin would get $300,000 if Randolph were alive. But with him dead, they would each get $500,000, or $200,000 more.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be worthwhile for them?
Gosh, that is some difference, isn't it?
So when they found that old Clara was about to make a will, they had to stop it.
Of course. They knew Teresa was the favorite and would get most of the money. So they killed Clara before she could sign the will I drew up.
Well, then they must have found out afterwards that old Mrs. Marquis had signed the will before she was killed. How'd they learn that?
Now that, John, we'll never know. Somebody said too much or too little. At any rate, they found out just enough to know that Patsy had the will and that it was signed. So they bided their time and got it away from Patsy. Then they laid for me to get rid of any possible witness to the existence of a will.
Do you suppose they would have killed me, Mr. Carter?
No, Teresa. Not if they had got rid of Patsy and me. I asked John to come here and take you away because I didn't know which way the cat was going to jump. And I was afraid the killer would try to nullify the effects of the will by killing you. But fortunately, the dear twins selected Patsy and me as the victims and you for the logical suspect.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you asked John to come over here, no matter what the reason was. It settled things for him and me very nicely.
It's just the way I wanted it to be, Nick. Although I hadn't hoped to get it for a long time yet.
Which proves that you never know where your blessings are coming from. Or something. Well, anyway, good luck to you both.
In just a moment, Nick and Patsy will bring you a preview of next week's exciting case. But first, here's a suggestion.
On a winter night, as the family gathers cozily at home for an evening of fun together, every moment is more enjoyable when home looks its inviting best. And it always does when you depend on the three great Linex home brighteners to keep woodwork, floors, and furniture sparkling. Your furniture, for example, regains its original gleaming beauty when you use Linex Cream Polish. For Linex Cream Polish cleans as it polishes, removing in one quick application all the cloudy accumulation of dust in previous polish. Yes, you save one whole step in your cleaning day routine when you use Linex Cream Polish on your furniture. It's truly the modern shortcut to furniture upkeep, taking only half the time. You'll find that Linex Cream Polish banishes messy fingerprints from your furniture, helps to hide ugly scratches, too, and there's no oily film on your furniture to attract more dust, to make more work. So do ask your dealer for Linex Cream Polish. Ask for all three great Linex home brighteners. Remember, that's Linex, spelled Lin-X. You'll find them all: Linex self-polishing wax, Linex cream polish, and Linex clear gloss varnish at your nearest hardware, paint, or department store. And now let's hear from Nick Carter himself. What about it, Nick? Have you an exciting story for next week?
Well, next week, Ken, I want to tell you what happened when I stopped off in a little town upstate to tell a rookie cop's family how sorry we were that he'd been killed in line of duty.
Well, that doesn't sound very exciting to me.
It was what happened after Nick stopped off there that makes the story. He found a household ruled by fear. Fear and hate.
With a mad old woman at the head of it who was convinced that she had been divinely appointed to set the world right.
Oh, that's very different, Nick. Well, where did you come into it?
Nick stopped a well-laid plan to commit wholesale murder and save the daughter of the house a fortune running into the millions.
Just because the killer forgot to quote the right Bible verse at the right time.
What do you call it?
An eye for an eye.
Or the mystery of the upstate murders.
And that's all for now. So long.
So long, everybody.
So long to you both, Nick and Patsy. We'll be seeing you again next week. Next week at this same time, listen to another curious experience of Nick Carter, Master Detective, entitled
An Eye for an Eye. For Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Upstate Murders.
Nick Carter, Master Detective, is featured in Street and Smith magazines. Lon Clark is starred as Nick with Helen Choate as Patsy. Original music is played by Lou White, and the programs are written and directed by Jock McGregor. Nick Carter, Master Detective, is presented each week at this time and over these same stations by the three great Linex home brighteners: Linex Clear Gloss Varnish, Linex Cream Polish, and Linex Self-Polishing Wax, created by Acme, America's great producer of Acme fine-quality paints. This is Ken Powell speaking for the thousands of Linex dealers all over America and saying so long until next week. This is Mutual.
This, I believe. George Sokolsky, bushy-haired, stocky King Features columnist, was born in Utica, New York. He grew up in New York's Lower East Side, but soon after college became a foreign correspondent in Russia during the first year of the Revolution, then in China, where he lived for 13 years. Today, George Sokolsky, the columnist, author, lecturer, industrial consultant, and commentator, makes his home in Manhattan and on his Kim Feng farm in Otis, Massachusetts. Hear now his creed.
It so worked out that immediately after I was through with college, I left the United States. I went to Russia as a newspaperman. It was to be a short absence from the country, perhaps 6 months. I was away from this country nearly 14 years. I missed an entire period of American history: World War I, Prohibition, the Jazz Age, the prosperity of Harding and Coolidge, the Ku Klux Klan, the hip flask, all sorts of curiosities. I missed the beginnings of the Depression. Those years I spent in Russia, in China, and Japan. I witnessed wars and revolutions, and I lived among unbelievable poverty. In fact, I'd become so accustomed to human suffering, to low standards of living, to a vast chasm between the rich and the poor, that when I returned to my own country in 1931, everything looked plentiful and prosperous to me, although everybody told me there was a depression. Living outside the United States for a long period made this country particularly precious to me. It is a curious feeling about your own country. Your own people are so far away. Every bit of news that came to us from America seemed so important. The 4th of July was for the Americans in Peking or Shanghai or Tokyo so meaningful a festival. It was impossible in this alien atmosphere not to make comparisons between the American civilization and the civilizations among which I lived. They were delightful, friendly, kindly human beings. In fact, I married one of them. But there was an essential difference in culture, in ideas of life, in the forms of civilization. And that essential difference was in the relationship of man to man, which is truly the relationship of man to God. The problem that faced me throughout the 34 years that I have been writing about the forces and events of these days has been to find a guiding philosophy, for to write without such guidance is to throw words together helter-skelter without real meaning. I could have found such guidance in dozens of patterns of life, from such moderns as Hegel and Marx, or from Nietzsche or Bakunin. Many have gone to these fountains for inspiration, as others have to William James or John Dewey. Perhaps it was the traditions of my race, or the teachings of my rabbinical father, or the influence of Maimonides and Thomas Aquinas. Whatever the influence, more and more I have turned to the Bible and to the religions of God for my inspiration. And in the American Declaration of Independence, in its first 150 words, I have found a philosophy of politics based on natural law, which has guided me in all my work. Thomas Jefferson there penned a moral theory of government, which stands firm in all the confusions of our times. Each man must find his own creed in the traditions that discipline his mind and work. In the natural law, I have found mine.
Those were the beliefs of King Features columnist George Sokolsky.
Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Stories start in many different ways. This one began with a stay of execution and ended with a doomed man finding salvation and a hunter becoming the hunted.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
There's an old bromide about nothing being deader than yesterday's news. But what about the people who made that news? The couple who were divorced, they've still got their tangled lives to live. The hit-and-run driver, he's still got his conscience to keep step with him wherever he walks. And the murderer on his way to the death house, his story is still with him, even though yesterday's newsprint lines the inside of today's garbage cans and provides wrapping in the fish markets. There's another old bromide the best of us have a hard time learning. It has to do with taking things for granted. And I was the wide-eyed innocent in kindergarten, my education beginning a little past midnight as I stepped out into the deserted sidewalk in front of the newspaper building.
All right, Stone.
Huh?
Don't turn around. Don't move.
Well, if this is a stick-up, you're out of luck. Payday's tomorrow.
It's John Galt, Mr. Stone.
Galt?
I said don't turn around. I escaped, Stone. I got away. Let's find your car.
How did you escape?
On the train, on the way to the death house. The guard got careless.
Had his gun?
Yes.
You kill him?
No.
There's probably an alarm out for you.
Maybe they won't catch me before I do what I have to do.
And what's that?
I kept saying I was innocent, Mr. Stone. You kept saying I was guilty. The newspaper's a powerful thing. What I said, only a few people heard. What you said in your column, 1 million people heard. Come on, let's go.
I work for a newspaper, Galt. We deal in facts. Facts like a jealous husband shooting an unarmed man on the back.
Facts. When it's printed, people believe it. Even if it's a bunch of trumped-up lies.
I didn't convict you, Galt. The evidence did.
You helped. Here we are. Get in. You can drive. And no tricks. I've got nothing to lose. Nothing.
Where are we going?
To the assistant district attorney's home. He lives on Fowler between Oak and Euclid.
What do you want with him, Galt? He's just a guy doing his job, and it's a tough one.
He's figuring on getting married soon. Planning on a nice, comfortable life.
What's wrong with that?
Why don't you ask my wife? Come on, get moving.
The assistant district attorney, Philip Holmes. He'd conducted a brilliant prosecution of Galt, developed an airtight case. And now Holmes was preparing to taste the fruits of victory. His fiancée, the girl he wanted to marry for a year, had finally set the date. The wedding was scheduled for next Sunday. And now this. I looked over at Galt. His fingers clutched the gun like a child clutches her favorite doll. I'd have to wait, sweat it out for a while, find out what he was after, and pray for an opening. Maybe he isn't home, Galt. Maybe he's still out with his fiancée.
Shut up. Yes. Inside. What do you think? Get back in. You too, Stone.
Galt. Now, look here.
Ready for bed, Mr. District Attorney?
Yes. I heard from the police about your escape. They're looking for you, Galt.
Get dressed.
What do you expect to accomplish?
You better do as he says, Holmes.
What is this, Randy? What are you doing here?
I'm just along for the ride. This is his show.
All right, answer it. Be careful what you say, Mr. D.A.
Hello?
Philip, I just heard it on the radio. John Galt escaped.
Yes.
Oh, they called you.
Yes.
Darling, do be careful. He might come for you. He swore he'd get even with you.
Oh, there's nothing to worry about, dear.
Phil, he's crazy.
Say goodbye.
Huh? What's that, Phil?
Louise, he wouldn't come here, Louise. This would be the last place he'd come.
But you should have protection, Phil. Darling, if
Tell
you
her
call the
good
police,
night.
Yes. It's all right. Good night, dear.
Phil.
Good night.
Now get dressed.
What do you want?
I just told you. I want you to get dressed and hurry. Hurry. Like you hurried me through my trial. Get away from that drawer.
I want you to get dressed. I just want to pet.
I told you to get up. Don't break my hand, you...
Now his back was to me, concerned with Holmes, and for a moment he'd forgotten me. I had 3 fast steps to take, and then I grabbed his arm. Drop it. Drop that gun. Holmes, get the gun.
No, you don't. I got it. I ought to shoot now. I ought to shoot both of you now. Get back, Stone.
You can't blame me for trying, Galt. You're not acting very much like an innocent man.
Yeah, what do you expect me to do? Go quietly to the death cell and wait for a miracle? Keep on waiting for it while they shave my head and slit my trousers?
You should have thought of that before you got involved with a character like Cutler.
You were given a fair trial, Galt.
Fair trial? There was a time I had a lot of respect for law and courts and justice, but not now. From here on in, I haven't got anything to lose. But you have, Holmes, and so have you, Stone. Try it again. Try another trick. If you miss again, I'll kill you.
You'll kill us anyway, Galt, won't you?
I know I can't escape. I know I'll be caught. But when they finally catch me, 1 second before they kill me, I'm going to kill you.
And in the meantime?
I'm going to show you things that never got into the court. Things that'll prove that I didn't kill Monty Cutler. Then your dying will be bitter and pointless like mine is. We'll see how you like it. Ready, Mr. D.A.? We use your car. The police respect it.
Is this where you used to live, Galt?
That's right. Where I used to live.
What's here?
My wife. Wait.
You sure this is how you want it, Galt?
Just don't try anything foolish.
It's your play.
John. Oh.
Ev, you know Randy Stone, Evelyn. The one who wrote those stories about me, about us.
You're still mixed up, Galt. I'm a reporter. I don't take sides.
What is it, John? What happened?
And the district attorney, Ev.
John, what's wrong?
Get in. Get in, both of you.
You're an awfully determined host, Galt.
Over there where I can watch you.
Why are you doing this, Galt? You can't do yourself any good, and you're only making things worse for your wife.
Motive. You kept saying motive, Mr. D.A. Your whole case against me was built on what you said was my motive for killing Cutler.
I heard everything you had to say in court.
This isn't court now. There's no judge, no jury, just us. Ev, we've been in love for a long time, haven't we?
Yes. Yes, John.
Ev, you worked for Monty Cutler for years. Was there ever anything between you and him?
No. No.
I was never jealous of him. I had no reason.
No.
Was there any reason I'd want to kill him?
No, John.
I heard all this before.
No matter what my wife says, Mr. D.A., I'm going to die tonight. I'm going to run, and they're going to catch me. This is the last time I'll see my wife. But you'll never live to have a wife. You're going to be running with me. You're going to know how it feels to be hunted. How it is to know that this is your last night to live.
Go on, Galt.
Ev, the night I called for you at Cutler's place, the night he was shot, you'd already gone home. You said you saw a woman there earlier.
Yes, Mr. Cutler's wife.
He hadn't been living with her.
Not for years.
Just a second. The police tried to find this wife. They never found any evidence he'd been married.
No, he never was. We never found any supporting evidence that a woman was there the night of the murder.
I asked for time. Why'd you rush the trial right through, Holmes? Maybe I could have found her.
John.
Yeah. Yes, I've got to go.
John, what's going to happen?
Come on, you two. Goodbye, Ev.
Where now?
Maybe some more evidence that never got into court. Keep your eye on the road, Stone. I'll tell you where to go.
I never heard a convicted killer say he wasn't framed or up on a bum rap or he never did it. I've heard it hundreds of times, and no matter how good they make it sound, they've always got an angle. And I'd find out what Galt's was before long, too. I kept driving downtown to the west side into the manufacturing district.
Turn right at the corner, Stone.
Monty Cutler's place?
No, across the street from Cutler's, the warehouse.
And what's there?
A missing witness. Maybe he's back in town now.
Who is it?
The night watchman. Come on. Out. He was there when I came to pick Evelyn up that night. I said hello to him, but nobody could find him during the trial.
Seems like a silly waste of time to me.
Time is all you have left, Holmes. You better keep hoping I manage to waste a lot of it before they close in on us.
Hey, you fellas, what do you want there? Hold on there. What is it you want? What?
Yeah, it's me, Charlie. Johnny Galt. And this is Randy Stone of the Star. And maybe you know our assistant district attorney, Mr. Holmes.
What do you want?
The answer to some questions, Charlie.
What about? What for?
About Monty Cutler's murder. And because you skipped town during my trial.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If you know anything, Charlie, tell us about it.
What could I know?
Why'd you leave town, Charlie?
I went on my vacation.
More than 4 weeks?
Yeah, sure.
Who paid for your vacation?
Nobody. What do you mean?
Tell him what he wants to know, Charlie.
Mr. District Attorney,
Go ahead, Charlie.
You want me to tell everything that happened that night, Mr. Holmes?
Why not? What difference does it make?
What difference? Well, maybe so. I said hello to you, Mr. Gold. You remember that?
Sure.
And before that...
What?
Well, before that, this woman come around.
Which woman, Charlie?
I've been a watchman here a long time. I see her a few times, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. She used to come around.
Cutler's wife.
I don't know whether she was or not.
How long before I got there, Charlie?
Maybe a half hour, I guess.
How long did she stay there?
I don't know. Mr. District Attorney, you sure you want me to spill this?
Oh, yes. Yes, Charlie. There's no mystery, is there?
Well, there was a car there, too.
What car?
Big limousine.
Go on, Charlie. Which big limousine?
The district attorney's car.
My car?
The DA's car?
Yes.
Were you raiding Cutler's roulette wheel, Holmes?
No. That's it.
That's it. That explains everything. You were there. That's why you refused me a delay to uncover the truth.
No, don't jump to conclusions.
How does it feel, Holmes? Why not jump to conclusions? You've been doing it a long time. It all falls into place, the whole pattern. You're rushing me through the trial, not giving me a chance. Piling up circumstantial evidence.
Could it have been your car, Holmes?
I don't know. Perhaps a lot of people have access to it.
That'll be worth finding out about, Holmes.
Yes. Yes, I'll look into it.
Oh, yeah, I can just believe that. I can just see you putting your neck in a noose for me.
Galt, you said it before, a newspaper's a pretty powerful thing. With this evidence, we
You
can...
expect me to trust you after all those stories about how guilty I was?
Well, this would make a better story.
Sure. The story of Randy Stone bringing in an escaped murderer would be swell for you.
Look, you've established enough doubt so that we can...
You'd say anything to save your skin. You'd promise anything. We'll save it for your readers. They believe what you say.
The streets are honeycombed with police. How far do you expect to get?
At least one more place before they catch up.
Where go?
The woman, Mr. District Attorney. Cutler's wife. The one you said doesn't exist. But does it matter? Wherever we go, you'd better keep hoping nobody stops us. Us. Because as soon as they do, it'll be the end of the line for all of us.
Well, Randy, you're a fast guy with an answer, so answer this one. Or are you looking for an angle? You've heard 100 convicted killers say they're innocent. You're tired of listening. You know they're lying. But here's the 101st, Randy. Maybe he hasn't got any angle. Maybe he's telling the truth. And if he is, it makes sense for him to feel that there's no answer. And he's got to keep running with the cops and everybody waiting for him with guns and with cars. Because he can shout his lungs out and nobody will listen. He can yell and cry and scream that he's not guilty. And they'll still drag him down the long corridor and make him step over the next to last threshold. What would you do if you were him, Randy? And the DA's car, how does that figure? Galt wasn't taking any chances now. He forced Holmes and me to burrow into the well below the dashboard. He got behind the wheel, driving with one hand, his other hand gripping his gun. The DA's car was plush, but it wasn't designed to make a passenger comfortable, doubled up. If I was subject to claustrophobia, there was never a better time for it to come out.
Hang on. There's a barricade ahead. We're going through it. Don't be a fool, Galt.
About the only thing I could see was the gas accelerator and Galt's foot. And suddenly the foot went way down, jamming the pedal against the floor.
Here it comes. This is how it feels.
I remember something about letting your body relax when you're heading for a smash-up. But how can you relax with your knee propped against your chin? I kept my jaw tight and said a fast prayer.
Like this, Stone, like this!
NBC is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. This Wednesday marks the return to the air of Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman in their popular roles as the Halls of Ivy. The delightful adventures of Professor Hall and his wife Vicky mean 30 minutes of top listening for the entire family. And on Wednesday, October 4th, that remarkable mustache that walked like a man, Groucho Marx, will be on NBC with his hilarious quiz game, You Bet Your Life. It's 30 minutes of fun and prizes, the biggest prize of all being Groucho, of course. And now back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
It wasn't particularly comfortable under the dashboard of the car, but it was a good place to be with bullets on the loose and an escaped murderer at the wheel. The car skidded and danced through the barricade and then gave a surge and swept on.
How does it feel, you guys? How's it feel to be the boss for a change?
Let us get out of here and I'll tell you. What's that?
I don't know. Gas. They hit the gas tank. I'm out of gas. All right, get out.
Now, wait, hold on a minute. There's no sense in this, Galt.
Get moving. I'm out of gas, but not out of bullets.
Before you do something that can't be undone, Galt, think a minute. There'll be a real investigation. We'll go...
We gotta make those woods.
Holmes, what about it? If he's innocent,
I'll give you my word.
Come on. Faster. They'll be here in a minute. Faster.
Oh, listen. I thought I was being fair. The trial, I believe there wasn't any valid reason for a postponement. I've always conducted myself according to strict letter of the law. Now if I've made a mistake...
Save it, Holmes. All right. Hold it. You get behind that tree, Holmes. Stone, behind that bush. It's not too dark for me to see you. One move and I shoot.
We know you're there. Come out with your hands up.
The two cops in the patrol car were sitting ducks with the moon behind them. They were coming slowly, their guns drawn. If Galt wanted to shoot, he couldn't have a better target.
Stay back. Stay back.
But they kept coming, not seeing any of us, straight for the bush behind which I stood.
Mr. Holmes, are you there?
Yes. Yes, don't shoot.
Don't come any closer. I'm warning you.
We're coming in.
I said stay back. I'll shoot.
Come on.
Galt fired from less than 15 feet, but the shot hit one of them. It didn't stop him. They both came on. I counted 1, 2, and then the cop in front was close enough. I braced myself and I let him have it. Sometimes you have to do the darndest things to help a guy. My haymaker hurt the cop, but not as much as Galt's bullet would have. The other cop was on me now. I twisted. I rolled away. He sent a whistling blow past my ear. He was a heavy guy, real heavy as he landed on my kidney, and I tried to squirm away, and then suddenly the cop's weight slid off my back. I turned, and Galt's face, twisted and maniacal, looked down at me, his gun raised.
Get up, Stone. You two Holmes. They're out cold. Cops will be swarming all over here in a few minutes.
Wherever we go, they'll...
Now you know how it is. To be the hunted instead of the hunter.
How long do you think we'll last in these woods?
The freight yards are close by. I said, come on, both of you. Run! Come on, run!
You can read about it, you can see it in the movie, but you never really know how it feels to be the quarry in an honest-to-death game of fox and hounds until you've had it. We were running, but there'd have to be a dead end, and soon, and that'd be the time that Galt, half crazy with bitterness and hate, had turned his gun on us to make sure that he took us with him. We made it to the freight yards, and Galt steered us to one of a long line of boxcars.
Okay, here's an empty freight. Get in. In that corner. Sit down.
Now, for a little while, I thought maybe you were innocent, Galt.
Ask Holmes whether I am or not. Ask him what his car was doing to Monte Cutler's. Maybe he lost too much at the roulette wheel in the upstairs room.
You didn't like it when they used that kind of thinking in court.
When the cops came after us, what did Holmes do? He just stood there waiting.
What did you expect me to do?
Maybe what Stone did. He didn't just stand there hoping the cops would kill me like you were hoping. That would have fixed it up fine for you, wouldn't it, Holmes?
You're all crossed up, Galt. I helped knock them out because I didn't want them killed.
They're coming, Galt. Galt, while you still have time. If you give yourself up, I'll make every effort to get at the truth.
I know the truth. You killed Cutler.
You talk about motive, Galt. What's my motive? Why would I kill him?
There's something beyond that, too. A man neither has it in him to kill or he hasn't, Galt. When you shot at the cops back there, it proved something.
I didn't shoot at them. How could I have missed them so close? I shot in the air to scare them off.
You're going to scare them off now? They're pretty close. They'll be here next.
All right, you tell me. It's up to both of you. When that door opens, I'm going to shoot. We'll find out who's the murderer. All right, Holmes. Tell me what to do. Shall I shoot them or you? Them or you?
Listen, they're still away. You can hide. I'll tell them you ran away. They'll believe me.
You must think I'm an idiot. Well, Stone, you said a man is either a murderer or he isn't. How about you? Are you a murderer? They're hunting you now, too. They'll be here in a second. If I shoot them, we can still have a little time. How about it, Stone?
You'll do what's in you to do, Galt.
Quick. Holmes, quick. What'll it be?
Oh, you crazy fool. I didn't kill Cutler. I swear to you I didn't. All right. All right, come on out of there.
The cop's flashlight played around. Galt got to his feet. I could see his gun raised, but he was standing stock still, frozen. I jumped to my feet, but not as quickly as Holmes.
That's true. It's me, the district attorney. Galt, for heaven's sake.
And then he stopped. Galt still stood there. The cops moved in, their flashlight beam steady on Galt's tortured face. And then the tenseness went out of his features. He turned to the district attorney, dropping his gun on him.
I can't shoot.
Maybe you did prove something, Galt, right now.
What was your motive, Holmes? Doesn't matter now, does it? You gotta have a motive to kill somebody. It has to be a pretty good motive, too. Because even with what I have against you, I still can't kill you.
Everything all right, Mr. Holmes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Galt. Come along.
He didn't kill Monty Cutler.
No.
You didn't either.
No.
It was your car.
I don't know. I suppose maybe it was.
Galt wanted to take us to one more place, Holmes.
Cutler's wife.
Yeah, we'll have to find out where she lives.
Yes, I'd like to stop off at Louisa's first, Randy. She's probably worried about me. It's close by.
Sure. We drove back away with a patrol car, and then Holmes and I caught a cab. It was only a 10-minute drive to his fiancée's place. The DA was quiet. I didn't feel like talking either. We were awful close to eternal silence back there in the freight car. Maybe that was in Holmes's mind, too. Or maybe he was thinking about the woman he was going to marry. A uniformed elevator operator took us up to the 4th floor. The swank apartment house was good for my jumping nerves after the rough night. Deep carpets and subdued lights everywhere. I began to feel myself unwinding.
Darling. Oh, darling, thank heaven you're all right.
Louise, this is Randy Stone.
Oh, please come in.
Thank you. At 3 in the morning, it's a pretty weird hour to come calling.
I couldn't sleep anyhow. I've been glued to the radio. Must have been terrible for you. For both of you.
Louise.
Would you like some hot coffee?
Louise, there was a moment when...
Darling, you mustn't think about it anymore. I know it was horrible. Mr. Stone, wouldn't you like some coffee?
No, thank you.
Promised to kill us, Louise. There was that moment when he could have. What stopped him, Randy?
I think it was because he wasn't sure you killed Cutler.
Yes. Yes, he couldn't figure a motive for me. Isn't that a peculiar little thing, Louise?
Let's not think about it anymore.
If he'd known I
Phil.
did have a motive, if he'd known the woman I wanted to marry was Monty Cutler's wife, he wouldn't have hesitated. The rest of the evidence was all there.
Phil.
He could have killed us. But he didn't. He's an honest man. Far more honest than I was. Because all along I kept pushing the thought out of my mind. I didn't want to let myself think that John Galt might not be guilty.
Phil, it's all over now. It's finished.
Louise, why didn't you tell me you were Cutler's wife? Because Cutler was a gambler and a racketeer?
Phil, Mr. Stone is here. Phil.
Maybe I ought to let you handle this alone.
No. Oh, Randy, I want you to hear this. You see, it's understandable that we couldn't find Cutler's wife. Louise was out of town, weren't you, Louise?
Phil.
I'd loaned the car to you, Louise. You were using the car that night.
I didn't know the girl would be there. I didn't want to implicate anybody.
Kind of makes me an accomplice, doesn't it?
No. No. I did it for us. You've got no part in it. I did it. Because I love you, Phil.
Randy?
Yeah, Holmes.
Will you come with us? Down to headquarters.
Yeah, I've got an apology to make down there, too. That old bromide that I was talking about, it's don't jump to conclusions. It's an easy habit to get into. At work, at home, with the people we know and love. I got my education all over again with Johnny Galt, and I didn't learn with books. Playing for keeps is a tough way to learn, but maybe it lasts longer that way. I hope so. Copy boy. Where is that copy boy? Probably sneaking a beer at the corner. Oh, there I go, jumping at conclusions again. Copy boy.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis and edited by Larry Marcus. Tonight's story was written by Selig Lester and Merwin Gerard, with music by Frank Worth. The part of Galt was played by Jeff Corey. Others in tonight's cast were Gene Bates, Francis Cheney, Eddie Fields, Hal Gerard, and John Stevenson. Frank Lovejoy will next be seen in Milton Sperling's production Three Secrets, released by Warner Brothers. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. Night Beat came to you from Hollywood. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Fibber McGee and Molly and all their delightful guests at 79 Wistful Vista will be back on Tuesday, September 19th. Doc Gamble, Mayor Latrivia, and the entire cast will be on hand to join in the merriment. 2 weeks after that, the happy chimes ring for the return of Bob Hope, with laughs and more laughs in the unique Hope style. Three chimes mean good times on NBC.
This, I believe. Dr. George H. Hand is Vice President of Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, Illinois. Teaching and educational administration has been his life work. Starting as a high school commercial teacher and athletic coach, he taught college economics and worked his way up through the academic ranks. Then, suddenly his career was threatened. Here is Dr. George Hand with his story and his creed.
I did not get the real significance of the saying, "It pays to do the right thing," until recently, when I had the most important and trying opportunity of my life to test the theory. As a college president, I defended a dismissed faculty member. My determination to stand for truth and justice cost me my position. But the worry of the following weeks was exceeded by the conviction that honesty pays, and pay it did, in many ways. I have a better position, but far more important than economic security, I have a clear conscience and renewed faith that the church, the home, and the school are teaching the young exactly the principles that they should be taught. Throughout the bitter 18 months, which included many meetings, many evidences of fear, hysteria, and distrust, I followed the advice of my preacher when the ethical seemed to conflict with the expedient. The heartwarming memories of the nationwide support of newspapers, magazines, and friends strengthen my belief that an attitude of cheerfulness, patience, optimism, kindness, friendliness, cooperativeness make for personal happiness and the general welfare. Early in this experience, Mrs. Hand and I discussed with our two sons the choice of standing for our principles or not, running the risk of losing my position. The family voted unanimously in favor of standing for our principles. The night I was dismissed, a group of faculty members, their husbands and wives, waited with my family for my return from the state capitol. During the interval, our older son, who was 15 years of age, casually remarked that what Pop needs is fire insurance. This was heartening, because it indicated that our son had been at least partly conditioned to the responsibilities of the individual in a democracy. Expressions of loyalty by students, faculty, and staff showed also that my efforts at practicing and preaching democracy had been successful. To get people, young or old, to do what is wanted, one should do, not preach, what should be done. Another conviction of mine was confirmed in these fateful 18 months, that some self-appointed defenders and saviors of Americanism, although well-meaning, do not understand the real meaning of the term. For example, a local anti-subversive committee requested the college to label the library books that were listed by the House Un-American Activities Committee as undesirable. It did not occur to them that Americanism stands for freedom, including the freedom to read what one wants to read without censorship and without a tag. In other words, they were asking us to destroy the freedom they thought they were protecting. Naturally, we refused. Everyone, but above all the community leaders, should bend every effort to help the church, the home, and the school succeed in their most precious task, making each individual as Christ-like as his talents permit, and thus a happy, useful, and peaceful individual, the end result of which will be a happy, useful, and peaceful world.
They're the beliefs of Dr. George N. Hand, Vice President of Southern Illinois University. He lives with his wife and two sons at Carbondale, Illinois.
Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective.
May I do something for you, sir?
I'll repeat the offer while I think of something.
I beg your pardon?
That's not the way I heard it first.
Did you want to see...
Mr. George Victor.
May I have your name?
Well, let's trade. Mine's Diamond, Richard Diamond.
Oh, of course. Mr. Victor's expecting you.
That's too much to hope that you were...
He's waiting for you, Mr. Diamond.
Thanks. Any door?
Huh? Oh, straight ahead. Go right in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mr. Victor?
Yes. Oh, you're Diamond.
Uh-huh.
Come in and sit down.
Thank you.
You said you'd come immediately, and that was over an hour ago when I phoned you.
Well, I didn't want to come in my bare feet. What? I was washing out a pair of socks.
You're sure you're Richard Diamond?
Reasonably sure, yes. My credentials.
All right. You were recommended to me by Lieutenant Levinson of the police department. I want to hire you.
My fee is $100 a day in expenses. Unless we settle that first, I couldn't solve the case if it was tagged 100 proof.
Here are 2 checks. One for 100, the other for 5. Oh. You get the 100 if you take the job, and the other one if you do the job satisfactorily.
Oh, tell me all about it.
You may have heard that I bought the controlling interest in one of the biggest newspapers in the city.
That I heard.
All right. I'm going to expose the numbers racket.
That's been tried before.
I know, but this time it's different. I have all the evidence I need to expose one of the biggest operators, Aaron Ziegler.
Oh, you do pick 'em big.
You know him?
We did some spitting at each other when I was on the force.
Well, then you know what he is.
Yeah. But you said you had all the evidence. Where do I come in?
Ziegler's my affair. Yours will be my daughter. Here's her picture.
Well, you can have Ziegler. I'm happy with this arrangement.
This is no joke, Mr. Diamond. My daughter works for Ziegler.
Oh? You got $1 million for every Mongolian in Asia, and your daughter works? Hobby, perhaps?
She became infatuated with a man named Doug Saxon.
And went to work to support
Will
him.
you listen to me?
No, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Victor.
Saxon has some connection with Ziegler. I objected to her seeing Saxon, and there was an argument.
And being 21, she walked out.
Yes. Ziegler gave her a job singing in the Nocturne Club.
I know the place.
Now, what I want you to do is...
I think I know, Mr. Victor. You've got evidence on Ziegler. That makes him an unhappy boy, and being unhappy, he wants to smile again. So he sets glamour lad Saxon loose. Your daughter falls for him, and the frame's begun. Right?
Ziegler told me he was going to stop me from printing the expose of his racket. I know he'll use my daughter, Kathy.
What does she have to say about it?
She won't see me.
And you've got no idea what the frame will be.
No, that's your job. Find my daughter, stay with her until the paper goes to press.
And when will that be?
10 tonight.
Well, all right, Mr. Victor. You've hired yourself a boy. I'll pick up that $500 check after I pick up the late edition. Good day, sir. Oh,
Yes?
If you will excuse the expression, the retainer, $100.
Oh, here you are.
Oh, well, thank you. I'd bow from the waist, but my empty money belt might choke me. I'll keep in touch. A couple of phone calls to old acquaintances who still kept in touch with the shady side of our city, and I had Saxon's address. A half hour after I left George Victor, I was punching the buzzer to Saxon's apartment. Good afternoon, Mr. Saxon.
Who are you? What do you want?
I'm Mother Hubbard, and I've come to look in your cupboard. Ask me in.
What's the idea? Who?
This won't take long, Mr. Saxon.
Listen, you.
I was just going to ask you to listen. But since you asked first, go ahead and give me something to listen to.
Did Ziegler send you?
Well, maybe. Maybe not. It's a nice place here. All the scenery. Phonograph, big overstuffed chair.
I'm glad you like it, but don't make yourself comfortable.
What's in the other room?
Look here, I don't know who you are or what you want, but...
Maybe Ziegler did send me.
Did he?
No.
You a cop?
Used to be. Always enjoyed my work. And I never enjoyed it more than when I was up against a character like you.
Get out of here.
Oh, now somehow getting tough doesn't look well on you. You're not the type, Saxon. From a quick but thorough study, I'd say you were more used to soft lights, sweet music, and setting up pigeons to be knocked over by your boss.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Kathy Victor. Know her?
What if I do?
You know her. And, Saxon. Keep away from her.
Oh, now you're scaring me, sure. Hey, what do you want from me? Why are you doing this?
I'm hired to do it. The name's Diamond, Richard Diamond, occupation private detective.
Private detective?
Yeah. You're going to make a phone call now.
I won't.
You're calling Ziegler to tell him you quit.
I can't do that.
Unless you want this floor lamp on your head.
Diamond, please don't.
Now, it's better. Now, go ahead.
What'll I tell him?
Your health is bad. You're going to take a boat trip.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, then you think of something, but think.
But Hello, this is Saxon. I'd like to talk to Aaron. Oh. Well, I'll call back.
It's important.
Oh, it's important. I've got to talk to him. All right.
Get him?
They're putting me through. Hello, Aaron. Listen, I can't go through with the deal. Something came up.
I mentioned my name.
A man named Diamond. Richard. Yeah, that's right. I don't know, Aaron, but please, don't blame me. I did. Hello, Aaron. Aaron. He hung up.
Good. You do the same.
You don't know what he'll do, Diamond. You don't know him.
Oh, but I do. Well, happy landings, Glamour Boy.
You can't leave me like this.
You know, after a long look at you, I don't think I'd like to stay. Bye, Saxon. 20 feet of the East River will look good on you. Okay, so it was a bluff. I knew Ziegler wouldn't be scared off that easily, but when you go hunting ducks, you put out a decoy. I did. The decoy was me. It was an hour later that I got back to my office building and walked into the lobby. The elevator door there was open, but the jockey was missing. I was about to take the hard way up the stairs when...
Diamond.
Oh, hello. Where'd you come from?
I'm under a cabbage leaf. Don't believe it.
Get in the elevator.
I'll walk.
Hey, Mac. Mr. Diamond don't want to get in the elevator.
Maybe he gets car sick. Get in, Diamond.
What's the big idea?
Close the door, Mac.
Sure.
You know how to run this thing, Diamond?
No.
Start it up. Go on.
Okay. Floors, please.
I'll tell you when. This is far enough. Stop it. And keep your hands away from that door.
What are you going to do, eat your way out?
He's a card, ain't he?
Oh, now, come on. Fun's fun, but I got business.
So have we.
We told you to take your hands off those doors.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, he won't go down.
Sure he will. He's just stubborn. Give me that sap. You see?
Yeah. Think he's still tuned in?
Let's see. Diamond. Hey, Diamond. He should know better than that. It ain't polite not to listen. Kick him in the ribs. Now, how about it, Diamond? You want to listen?
He's shaking his head. He says yes.
Okay. Now, stay away from the dame you're supposed to take care of. Go back to Victor and tell him you don't want the job. Tell him it's too rough, and if he don't understand, show him your bruises. Hey, give him a bruise where it shows. Look at that. I don't think he likes you kicking him in the chops.
What does he want? Bedroom slippers?
Okay, open the doors and let's get out of here.
Hey, think I ought to give him another boot? Just to make sure?
Ain't you ever satisfied? Go ahead.
Okay, let's go.
You know something? You got an awful disposition.
You don't come out of a beating like that right away. A professional working over is like spending a weekend in a taffy machine. I reached out and tried to touch things, but it was like trying to paint the inside of a balloon with a hammer. I was numb, and when the little jabs of feeling started pinching my cheeks, I found out that I was warm and sticky. Finally, I pulled myself up, stood there for a minute, decided my legs weren't macaroni, and went to the washroom to clean up. Then I headed for the Nocturne Club. It was too early for customers, but there was a bartender and a girl with blonde hair playing the piano.
We ain't open yet, Mac.
Oh, you ain't? Well, give me a bib. I may cry all over the place.
You look awful. Truck hit you or something?
I was blowing a tube in a high wind.
Yeah?
Yeah. Screwed me 8 feet into the ground.
Ain't that terrible?
Yeah, ain't it? Hey, who's the dame with the fingers?
Oh, entertains here. Name's Victor, Kathy Victor. Kind of swell set of pipes. If you're looking for a job, we don't need no tuba players.
Look, here's for a drink and here's something for you because you ain't open yet. Fix me something that'll turn me all one color.
Sure. Will it be black or blue?
Anything that goes with my tie. Bring it to the piano.
I thought you wanted it.
Oh, I'll laugh later.
I thought it was pretty good.
Hey, know the words to that?
Yeah.
Time in my hands.
From your looks, I'd say you needed time.
Oh, don't let the bruises fool you, honey. When the swelling goes down, my face is fairly normal.
Hey, blue and yellow make green, don't they?
Yeah, why?
I wasn't sure, but here's a drink anyway. Who knows? Maybe you'll turn plaid.
Sure. Here, put this in your pocket and go back in the bottle.
Sure, thanks. Yell when you want another one.
Hey. What's the matter? Why'd you stop?
I need a drink, too.
You get the jumps early, huh?
I work late. Catches up with me.
Oh, try out running them for a day. It does wonders.
Oh, I know you. You're a spy from Alcoholics Anonymous.
Go ahead, play some more.
All right.
Kathy. Your father sent me.
What?
Remember him?
Why don't you leave now?
Before we're really acquainted?
I don't know who you are or what you want, but if my father sent you, I'm not buying.
Okay, so you're having a good time now, but there's always the next morning. Thought of that?
I don't need anyone to take care of me.
Miss Victor, I'm not trying to take care of you. I'm doing a job. Maybe you don't know this, but you're being measured for a patsy.
And your father's going to fit the same frame Saxon and Ziegler are working up for you.
You're crazy. But I like you, so I'll forgive him.
Now, cut it out.
I thought you wanted me to play.
Look, you're spoiled. You had a mouthful of silver spoons and a handful of gold pieces for building blocks when you were a kid. But you're not a kid anymore. You're playing with bad boys.
Maybe that's the way I like them.
What do I have to say to make you realize, young lady?
What, Diamond?
Doug.
Oh, well, Mr. Saxon. I thought you weren't going to be around here anymore.
I changed my mind. You're changed, too, since I last saw you.
Well, only my looks. They'll heal. But tomorrow, you will still be a greasy little gigolo.
You can't talk that way to me.
Oh, shut up.
Never mind. Mr. Ziegler would like to see you. He saw you come in.
And where is Mr. Ziegler?
In his office, right back that way.
Okay. I haven't seen Ziegler for a long time. Maybe he wants me to set his broken arm.
His arm's all right.
Well, stick around. You may find out you're a chronic liar. Keep playing, baby. I'll be right back. Like I said, I knew my bluff with Saxon wouldn't work, but I had what I wanted. A look in on Ziegler. And maybe a hint on what the frame was going to be. I walked to and into his office.
Well, Diamond.
Hello, Ziegler.
Oh, what happened to your face?
Oh, got it caught in an elevator.
Oh.
What do you want with me?
Diamond, here's $1,000. Go out and have fun tonight, huh? All night.
Oh, that money won't do me any good.
Why not? That ain't counterfeit.
Well, it's yours. That makes it so lousy it's liable to crawl right out of my pocket.
Well, then get rid of it in a hurry.
You get rid of it.
You know, it's better waking up with a headache than not being able to find your head at all.
Oh, look, Ziegler, you don't scare me. Now, let's level. You know why I'm here. Let Kathy Victor alone.
You want to see me, boss?
Well, look who's here.
Oh, you know Tony Diamond?
Hey, we met, yes.
Mm-hmm.
He stubbed his toe on my chin.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When was this, Diamond?
You know what it was, about an hour ago.
You're crazy.
Yes, Diamond. Tony was right here with me all morning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Are you leaving, Diamond?
Yeah. Got any other ideas?
Yes. I think you should consider my proposition.
I'll let you know.
About what?
Things in general.
Oh, no.
All of a sudden, you're happy.
You make me that way, Diamond. You're working the dark, aren't you?
I'll feel my way around.
Believe me, Diamond, there ain't a thing wrong. Why, we love Miss Victor here. Just because her old man gets excited and hires you to bend an eye over her, don't mean anything is wrong, does it?
Since you asked me, I'll tell you. The answer's yes.
You think so?
Yeah. Otherwise, why beat me up? Why offer me $1,000 to look the other way?
I don't know nothing about the beating. And as for the $1,000, I like you.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, Ziegler. I think I'll go now. And just to make you happier, I'll probably stick with the case.
So long, Diamond.
Oh, by the way, Ziegler.
What now?
Did you say this gentleman's name was Tony?
That's his name.
Okay, Tony.
What?
I wouldn't do this for everyone, but your shoelace is untied. You're allowed to trip over it.
What are you talking about,
Bums away.
Oh, that ain't nice, Diamond. When you do that to a man, you're liable to bust all his teeth.
So what? You probably had your eye on the Goldmans anyway. Be good, Ziegler.
Well, hi there. You looking for another drink? Now, I got one here that I just fixed. You know, you kind of got me started on that color business.
Where'd the girl go?
Huh? What girl?
You know, Ann Saxon. Where's he?
Never heard of him.
Have you ever been to Hamilton?
Huh?
That's his picture on all $10 bills. This one's suitable for framing. In your pocket.
Can't do it, mister.
2 pictures of Hamilton?
Well, they sure would look nice on me, but I work here, mister. I got a wife and kids, see?
Yeah, I see. Okay, fella, forget it. Well, I fell for the oldest gag in the world. Kept busy someplace else while Saxon walked out with the girl. Now I had to find her. But where? I had until 10 that night to stop a frame-up I didn't know anything about. But I played a hunch and headed for the 5th Precinct Police Station and Lieutenant Walt Levinson. I walked in on him.
Diamond, oh, no.
Hiya, Walt.
No, please go home. Nothing good can come of this.
Why, Walt, I'm surprised at you.
Well, I'm not. You've got some horrible joke up your sleeve. I don't want any part of it.
I can only stay a few minutes. I want to know about a guy named Saxon.
Douglas Saxon?
That's it.
What's the matter? Can't you find things out for yourself?
Right now, Lieutenant, I'm a citizen asking about a guy. Now, what have you got on Saxon, Walt?
Not a thing. He was clean when we picked him up a couple of times.
Why was he picked up?
Why are you so interested in him?
Oh, it goes with my business.
Oh? And if I tell you?
Well, I'll tell you something sometime. Now, come on, Walt, give.
Okay. He was picked up on suspicion of handling narcotics. But that's a job for the Vice Squad. Why is he so dear to you?
He's working for Aaron Ziegler.
This, Mr. Diamond, is not news.
He'd be just a boy to work a frame for Aaron, wouldn't he?
If it involved a gal, yeah.
This does.
How?
Don't know. Yet. But, if she was picked up with narcotics on her, it'd be a nice frame, wouldn't it?
What makes you think it would be a frame?
This gal looks too healthy.
Yeah, but you could be wrong.
Why?
Because for some stupid reason I like you, and I don't want to see you make a fool of yourself.
Oh, why would I do that?
For this dame.
What dame?
The one that Saxon's going to frame.
Is he going to frame her?
Of course he is.
I'd better get her out of it.
Certainly, that's just what I was saying.
Why, Walt?
Rick.
Yeah?
Thanks.
What for?
For not dragging out that who's on first routine. I don't think my stomach could have stood it today.
Oh, Walt, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Be a good boy.
When you pound a police beat in New York, you make a lot of unusual friends. And if you ever get in plain clothes, those friends come in handy sometimes. I grabbed a cab in front of the precinct station and headed for Chinatown. Walt and I had known an old Chinese named Wu Li who had been around a long time. He knew everyone and everything that went on in Chinatown. And if anyone knew where we could find Saxon, he did.
Saxon, is possible I do not know him.
Oh, I think you do.
Just so. He said this man Saxon deals in sweet dreams. However, is rumor not proved.
Does he ever come to Chinatown?
You like perhaps a cup of tea?
I ask this as a favor, Wu Li.
Enemies are made to do evil, friends to ask favors. Sometimes is no difference.
Will you tell me, Wu Li?
You ask in name of friendship?
I do.
Very well. In Chinatown is establishment owned by a man named Fu Shen. Perhaps, I say perhaps, this man Saxon is there.
He's been there before,
My eyes are old, perhaps mistaken.
Not your eyes.
I shall give you address, then make call to Fu Shen. You will be allowed to enter his establishment.
May you live 10,000 years.
And may you live to mourn at my funeral.
The old boy gave the address, and I left his shop. 5 minutes later, I walked through the back door of the old frame building, and Fu Shen bowed from the waist and led me upstairs to a private room that fronted a long hall. I noticed there were 3 other closed doors in the floor, aside from the big room downstairs. If Kathy Victor was in the building, she had to be in one of those rooms. I walked into my room, closed the door behind me. There was a bed in one corner and a chair near it. A low table was near the bed, and a dim light threw diagonal shadows like fingers across the walls. I waited until the proprietor had time to get downstairs, then I opened the door and looked out in the hall. It was empty, so I started throwing open doors. I had to be quick before I had a dozen hopped-up thugs on my back. The first was a cold turkey.
Beat it! This room's in use. Diamond.
Well, Mr. Saxon, I presume.
Look, Diamond, lay off me, will you?
Where's the kid?
I don't know who you mean.
You will.
No! Diamond, my arm! You're hurting.
So here's another twist for size.
Ow.
Now sing, Saxon, and loud.
Look, you got it wrong.
How wrong can I be?
Okay, but it wasn't my idea.
I can believe that. Ziegler thought it up. You pulled it off for a couple of grand.
Listen, if I tell you we let me go, the girl's all you want, let me go, will you?
Where is she?
In the next room.
Walk ahead of me. And in case you get any ideas... Now walk ahead of me. Open the door.
You got my arm.
You got another one, but not for long if you try anything. Open it.
There she is.
Oh, out cold.
She's all right,
Just knocked out, huh?
Let me go now, Diamond.
Sure. So this was the game, huh? Bring her here, knock her out, plant narcotics on her, and then push her into the street to get picked up.
Look, I showed you where she is. Now give me a break.
You know, I was just thinking of that. How would you like it, in the arm or in the jaw? Crumb. Now, come on, Mr. Victor. Let's wake up now. Come on.
Mr. Diamond, you got bad habits.
Yeah, Tony, and one of them is running into you.
Okay, Diamond, keep your hands where I can see them.
Right on the ends of my arms.
Oh, what a sense of humor. All right, Diamond.
All right, what?
I think you're going to get a hole in the face.
Just a minute, Tony. You hear anything?
Yeah?
Those are police cars, Tony, coming here.
You're crazy.
Yeah? You don't think I'd come here alone, do you?
Get over there by the door.
Look, Tony, you got yourself all dirtied up for Ziegler. Is he here? No, he let you and Saxon walk around in the mud. Those cars are almost here, Tony.
Shut up, I got orders.
To rub me out, I know, but what did you do? How are you going to get out? Got an answer for that?
They ain't coming here.
They didn't go past, Tony. Now, listen. I got nothing against you. Make a break for it. Out the back door. All I want is the girl. Go on, fast, before it's too late.
Yeah, I ain't going to take the rap from nobody.
Diamond! Rick! Diamond, you in here? Diamond!
Up here, Walt. Come on.
You all right?
Sure, but I sent a package, special delivery, out the back door.
We've got that covered. Otis will sign for me.
Okay, wonderful. And now... Hey, wait a minute. Huh? What are you doing here? Why'd you come?
Why? My ulcers told me you were up to some stupid business. I knew when you left me you had some dizzy idea in your thick skull. I'm a cop, you know. I checked with Wu Lee, too. Hey, that the girl?
Yeah. She'll be all right. Coming around okay.
Uh-huh. Oh, and Saxon.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what did you hit him with?
Stop.
Limp.
Yeah, Walt, listen. If the papers get word of this kid's father will be ruined.
If she's in the clear, you've got my word. No one will hear about it.
Well, I know she's in the clear, but I can't leave her here. I got a job to do. I was hired.
Oh, you want to take her, huh?
Yeah, I think she'd like to go home.
Okay, I'll take your word she's all right. Now, beat it fast before the narcotics boys get here.
Thanks, Walt. Come on, baby. Snap out of it. Come on.
Get her out of here before we're all booked for obstructing justice.
I'm going. Hey, Walt.
Yeah?
How are you going to explain knocking over this joint before the vice squad?
Why, didn't you know I got a reported homicide here? I'll let you know what happens. Where'll you be?
Oh, silly boy. Where else but Helen's? Now, come on, Cassie, baby. On your feet. On your feet. Walt.
Now what?
I love you.
I'll marry you later. Now take off. Oh, my stomach.
Oh. Hello, Rick. You're late.
Hey, get a load of those silk slacks.
They're lounging pajamas, darling.
I've been in a lot of lounges, dear. Never saw anything like those.
You like them?
Yeah, they're all right. The stuffing that gets me.
Rick.
Be proud of what you got, baby. I knew a guy who had 16 toes on each foot.
What good did that do him?
He used to tell everybody he was a duck. Made a fortune selling his hair for pillow stuffing.
You look awful.
Could have been worse.
Oh? Was she pretty, Rick?
Who?
The girl in the case.
What case?
Why were you late getting here?
Oh, well, I had to take a girl home and introduce her to a man, her father.
I see. How long did that take?
How'd you know about the girl?
Lieutenant Levinson phoned, asking for you.
Oh.
I took the message. He said, she's all right. And a man named Saxon did a lot of talking.
Oh, wonderful.
Who's she? Who's Saxon?
Oh, read all about it in the papers, dear.
Is she blonde or brunette?
Both. Blonde with a brunette disposition. Got the piano, too.
Is she as pretty as I am?
Oh, honey, nobody is. Oh, well, nothing to do until the office opens again tomorrow. Time on my hands. You in my arms. Nothing but love in view. And then if you fall once and for all, I'll see my dreams come true. Moments to spare for someone you care for, one love affair, just the two. With time on my hands and you in my arms,
and love in my heart, all for you.
How long did it take you to take her home?
Oh, let's forget her, Helen.
I'm willing. But are you?
Mm-hmm. Look.
Oh, what nice big checks.
Yeah, another day, another $600.
Are we going out for dinner?
With what?
You've got a handful of checks.
Baby, I got news for you. The banks are closed.
Oh, come on. I know the bartender at the Nocturne Club.
Oh, no.
You have just heard Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell, with Virginia Gregg as Helen and Ed Begley as Lieutenant Walt Levinson. Also in the cast were Wilms Herbert, Larry Dobkin, Gene Bates, Stanley Waxman, Paul DeBob, and Hy Averback. Music was under the direction of Frank Worth. Richard Diamond is written by Blake Edwards and directed by Russell Hughes. Dick Powell currently may be seen in the motion picture version of the best-selling novel, Mrs. Mike. This is Eddie King inviting you to be with us next Sunday at this same time when we will again bring you Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective. What's on NBC today? Great shows for Sunday on NBC include The Adventures of Sam Spade and Theater Guild on the Air. Helen Hayes and Walter Abel co-star on Theater Guild today, and for his caper, Sam Spade turns to television for help. You'll enjoy both these stellar shows, Sam Spade, then Theater Guild, today on NBC. Now stay tuned for James Melton and Harvest of Stars on NBC.
This, I believe. Dr. George H.T. Kimball is the director of the American Geographical Society in New York City. For many years, he was a university lecturer in his native England. During World War II, as an officer in the British Navy, he prepared a weather graph, which was influential in determining the exact time of the D-Day invasion. Here now is Dr. Kimball.
I am a geographer, which means that I am concerned with observing, recording, and mapping the differences between one part of the world and another, and with probing their causes and consequences. In the course of my job, I have had the good fortune to travel widely in places as far apart as Alaska and Australia, the Congo and California. Now, the more I've seen of the Earth and pondered what I've seen, the more convinced I've become of four things. First, that it is a good Earth. It abounds in noble prospects and physical satisfactions, in things that are pleasant to the sight and good for food. If given half a chance, it brings forth fruit abundantly. Second, that it is an adequate Earth. Notwithstanding all the manhandling it has had and all the abuse, it is still capable of supplying the needs of mankind. There's no physical reason that I can see why all God's children should not get shoes, and at least a couple of square meals a day. Third, that it all hangs together. A storm in the Appalachians produces a flood in the Mississippi. A drought in Australia means less mutton on the Englishman's table. Warming up of the Gulf of Mexico means longer summers and better crops in Norway. Fourth, that the earth might yet be fair, and, to quote the poet, all men glad and wise. But how? As I said, my field is geography. Quite frankly, I find it difficult to believe that such a poetic vision is simply a matter of more bulldozers, more bushels per acre, more TVAs, or even more .4 programs. The best-fed nations in the world are not, from my observation of them, the happiest. Nor are the cleverest people necessarily the wisest. I believe in technology, but as an individual, things are not what I need most. I think I and my fellow men need faith. It seems to me that no matter where I've been, I've found men facing the same tangled skeins of desires, the same inner conflicts, the same uncertainties that I have to face. The fanatical Berbers that I lived amongst in the Atlas Mountains of North Africa were no different from me. If there was a difference, it was in the way we went about gaining our ends. If they didn't like a man, they assassinated him, and not with words either. If they didn't like a wife, they sent her back where she came from. Their biggest problems, like mine, were not physical or technical, but moral and spiritual. I have become convinced that there's only one way to deal effectively with this problem of frailty, selfishness and sin, mine as well as the other fellows, and that's by getting a new nature. Some years ago, I asked God to do for me what he had done for St. Paul, who, after his conversion, lived to say, "If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away, behold, all things are become new." I'm afraid I haven't made it too easy for him to fashion that new nature in me, but I do believe this, that since then my life has acquired a new dimension and new sources of strength, including the strength to be less concerned with my own selfish ends and more concerned with the welfare of others. I also believe that if enough of us were willing to let Christ cast out our sin and enter in, we could change the world and live to see the day when nation with nation, land with land, unarmed, shall live as comrades free, and in every heart and brain shall throb the pulse of one fraternity.
That was Dr. George H.T. Kimball, a geographer, who is not only concerned with the study of the Earth's surface, but with the spiritual life of men.
Mr. District Attorney!
Why, that's great. The DA ain't going to have a leg to stand on. You're a smart lawyer, Lester.
Orlando, I asked you to come over here to my house today to clear up some of the details of the case I'm preparing for the Ohio Kid's defense. There are certain angles I wanted to talk over with you.
I'm leaving it all to you, Lester. I hired you to get my torpedo the Ohio Kid out of that murder rap that the DA has on him. You're the best criminal lawyer in the country. Do it your way.
But you've got some good ideas, too, Orlando.
Hey, you think so?
Well, a man who can build up the biggest restaurant racket in the country and line up all the food wholesalers and waiters in this city must have brains.
Well, I got kind of a flair for organization. I had those restaurant owners eating right out of my hand. Yeah, I cleaned up plenty of dough from the restaurant racket.
I just said you were a smart man, Orlando. You'd better stay that way.
What are you getting at?
You and I have an agreement, Orlando, and the smart thing for you to do is to live up to it.
Well, ain't I? You're going to get that check for $100,000 just as soon as you win the murder case and the Ohio Kid goes free.
You agreed that check for $100,000 is mine, win or lose.
All right. But it's an escrow, just to be sure you don't grab the dough and take a powder on me. You see, I don't like to get double-crossed.
Duke, as far as I'm concerned, the money is the least important part of our deal. Oh, I want it, of course, but the thing I'm most interested in is getting the nomination for the office of District Attorney at the next election.
You'll get it. You beat the DA at the kid's murder trial, and my political friends will fix that nomination for you.
Okay, Duke. But just remember, I won't stand for a double cross either. Try anything phony and you'll wind up in the electric chair. I know how to put you there.
I wouldn't double-cross you, Lester. You're my lawyer.
Lucky Lynch was your right-hand man, and now he's in the hospital with a bullet in his stomach because you double-crossed him.
That's different. Lucky knows too much.
Maybe I know too much, too. The same thing will happen to me.
Lester, sometimes you get the screwiest ideas. I need your help to beat the DA. I ain't going to double-cross you.
You'd better not.
Okay. Well, I got to blow, Lester.
So long, Orlando.
Oh, look, there's something I forgot to tell you.
Yeah?
That check for $100,000.
What about it?
I borrowed that dough from the crime syndicate in Pittsfield.
I know. I saw P.J. Pierpont's signature on it. He's head of the syndicate.
Do you know him?
Not very well. I haven't seen him for quite some time, but we've had dealings in the past.
Yeah? Well, look, don't say anything to him about that check if you see it. You see, he don't want anybody to know his syndicate has given me financial backing.
Why not?
Well, PJ's got his reasons. He wants to keep this deal under cover, and I gotta do what he says.
You're sure the check's all right?
It's certified, ain't it?
I mean, you're sure the syndicate really loaned you that money? Sure you're not trying something shady?
Say, I wouldn't try to pull any funny stuff on those boys.
Okay, Duke. Okay. You have my word. I won't say anything about it.
Thanks. I wouldn't want anything to get back to PJ. That would be bad. Yeah, that'd be very bad.
Not too much off the top, Emil. My hair's thin enough up there as it is. Well, Mr. Lester, I'm glad you could come up here to see me.
Oh, I'm glad to see you, Mr. Pierpont. Sure is convenient to have your barber cut your hair right in your own home.
Well, I have to do this. The banker can't call his time his own. And that's why I said I'd see you here, Mr. Lester. I knew when you called my office that this was the only opportunity I'd have to see you. My day is completely filled. Trim those sideburns a little higher this time, Emil.
Heading a big syndicate like yours must keep you very busy.
Oh, yes, indeed. What did you want to see me about, Mr. Lester?
About one of your interests, shall we say, Mr. Pierpont?
I wasn't aware we had any dealings at present, Mr. Lester.
Indirectly, Mr. Pierpont. Could we discuss it in private?
Certainly. That's all for now, Emil. I'll call you when we're through. Well, Mr. Lester?
Mr. Pierpont, I've been retained by Duke Orlando as his lawyer to defend his torpedo, the Ohio Kid, against a charge of murder.
Yes, I heard so.
My fee is guaranteed by a $100,000 check drawn against your syndicate.
Our check for $100,000?
Oh, I realize I wasn't supposed to know about that check, Mr. Pierpont, but you can rely on my discretion.
You actually saw a check for $100,000?
Signed by you and certified.
I see.
There's nothing wrong with it, is there, Mr. Pierpont?
Did you ever consider, Mr. Lester, that it might be a forgery?
You mean you didn't give Orlando the money?
Well, that's entirely possible.
I get you, Mr. Pierpont. You don't want to talk about it.
You're assuming that we're financing Mr. Orlando.
I'm not assuming anything. I know you're backing him, but you needn't worry. I won't talk about private investments, shall we say?
Call it what you will. I'd advise you not to say anything about this matter to anyone.
Okay, have it your own way, Mr. Pierpont. I don't know Duke Orlando. I never saw the check, and I don't know anything about you or your crime syndicate. You're a shrewd article, Mr. Pierpont.
It's very careless of Mr. Orlando to show you that check.
Oh, he isn't entirely to blame. You see, I demanded cash in advance for my services as attorney. He had no alternative but to show me the syndicate's check.
I'm glad you told me about this, Mr. Lester. I know you won't carry it any farther.
You can depend on me, Mr. Pierpont. Nothing will get out. I just wanted to know where I stand.
Mr. Lester, you'll have to excuse me now. As soon as Emil finishes my hair, I've got to call a special meeting of the board. A certain matter needs immediate attention. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, PJ.
Is everyone here? Where's Reeves?
You have to fly to the coast, PJ. Some trouble with the West Coast Company we're finding.
Well, we'll hold this meeting without him. Something very important has come up.
What is it, PJ?
Gentlemen, I believe you were all present a few days ago when Mr. Duke Orlando asked this syndicate for a loan of $100,000.
Yes.
And I believe it was the unanimous decision of this board not to approve the loan. Am I correct?
Quite right, PJ.
What's all this leading to, PJ?
This. You may be interested to know, gentlemen, that Mr. Duke Orlando has a certified check drawn on our syndicate in the amount of $100,000.
What's that?
But that's impossible, PJ. We refused the loan.
Nevertheless, such a check is in existence. I learned of it today from Mr. Lester, Orlando's attorney. Gentlemen, Duke Orlando has deliberately forged a $100,000 check on our corporation.
We've got to get that check stopped.
That's right. But, gentlemen, there's a principle involved here that I must bring to your attention. Duke Orlando is misrepresenting to certain parties that he has our financial backing. We know Orlando is a poor credit risk, and so do others. And when he claims he has our financial support, he's putting our syndicate in a very bad light.
You're right, PJ. Our clients will get the impression we're careless in our investments.
Exactly. Our reputation in banking circles is sound. Should it become known that we advance money to poor credit risks, such as Duke Orlando, our whole financial standing would be undermined.
We can't afford that.
Decidedly not, gentlemen. This is a matter for our collection department. And I suggest we send several of our credit men to dispose of the matter at once.
Hey, buddy. Can you spare a time?
Go on, Bum. Get out of my way.
Give me a dime for a cup of coffee, will you, Duke?
Hey, who are you? How'd you know my name?
Take a good look, Duke. Don't you recognize me?
Harry the Bum.
Yeah. I got something for you, Duke.
Go on, you tramp. I don't need any of your tips. Tell him someplace else.
Things is kind of slow, Duke. I don't get much information to pass around to the boys these days, but I got something that'll do you some good. Something that'll save you a lot of trouble.
Yeah? Let's have it.
Get in the doorway, will you? I can't talk to you on the street.
All right, come on.
Duke, I got a hot tip for you.
Yeah, what?
The money talks first, Duke. This tip's worth $100.
Ah, you're nuts.
All right. It ain't my funeral.
How do I know your tip's worth a dime to me?
Oh, I got a reputation, Duke. My tips is on the level. And when I say something's worth $100, it's worth $100.
Give you 50.
Guess you don't hear good. I said 100, Duke.
Okay, 50 now and 50 after you tell me.
So long. I don't do business with chisels.
Wait. I'll buy Harry. Yeah. Here's a C-note.
Thanks, Duke.
Well, what do you know?
I hear some of the boys from the crime syndicate are in town looking for you.
How'd you know that?
I heard a couple of fellas talking about a check you forged on the syndicate. 2 of their credit men are out to take care of you.
How'd they find out?
I don't know who they sent, but they got Trigger Smith and Smiley Jackson on the payroll. All them credit men are killers, Duke. When they go after a guy, they don't miss. I thought you'd like to know.
Hello.
District Attorney speaking.
Hello, D.A. This is Duke Orlando.
Duke Orlando?
Yeah, I understand you're looking for me, D.A.
Not particularly, Orlando.
Well, I'm coming right down to see you.
I don't want to see you now.
Now, listen, D.A.
When I want you, Orlando, I'll come and get you. Goodbye.
Well, Harrington, that's one I can't figure out. Duke Orlando wants to give himself up.
Yeah, the pressure must be getting too tough for him, D.A. Maybe he wants to make a good impression when we get him in court. He can say we didn't have to go out looking for him.
He sounded pretty nervous on that phone. Something's got him scared. Don't know just what, but after I get through with these reports, I'm going over to the hospital and have a talk with Lucky Lynch.
He ought to know what's up.
Yes, if he's well enough to talk. He's not been coming along so well the last day or so. Now, you get out of here, Harrington. I've got about 2 hours' work on these reports before I can get over to the hospital.
Calling Dr. Jones. Calling Dr. Jones. Dr. Wilson wanted in surgery. Calling Dr. Jones. Calling Dr. Jones.
Well, Mr. District Attorney. Good afternoon, Doctor. I'm on my way in to see your patient, Lucky Lynch. How is he?
I want to speak to you about him. He's been in a coma most of the day.
I didn't know he was that bad, Doctor.
The drains we have in his wound show that infection is setting in.
Oh, that's serious, isn't it?
Bullet lodged in the stomach wall, and when infection develops that close to a vital organ, we've got a fight on our hands.
Then it may be fatal?
It's a 50-50 chance, Mr. District Attorney.
Can I see him now?
Yes, he's conscious, but I wouldn't ask him to talk very much. He's extremely weak. The strain of talking would react unfavorably.
All right, Doctor. Thank you. Hello, Lucky. Now, don't say anything. Let me do all the talking. The doctor says you shouldn't exert yourself. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions. Just answer yes or no if you can. Lucky, I've been in my office for the past 2 hours, and in that time, Duke Orlando has telephoned 3 times. He says he wants to give himself up. Each time he called, he sounded more nervous and jittery than the time before. Can you think of anything that would make him so panicky he'd run to me for help? Has he any underworld enemies who might be out to get him? Can you answer that, Lucky? Has he any enemies? Lucky. Lucky. Oh, nurse. Come here right away. This patient is unconscious. He may be...
Hello, D.A.
Hello, Harrington. Did Duke Orlando call again when I was at the hospital?
No, D.A. Did you find out anything from Lucky Lynch?
No. Lucky's very low. He passed out when I was there.
You mean he's dead?
No, but very close to it. He lost consciousness just when I started talking to him. Didn't even answer me. Left word at the hospital to call me when he comes to.
And that's tough, D.A. He's your key witness against Duke Orlando. If Lucky dies, your case dies with him, and Duke will be free to continue his racket.
Well, Lucky has a 50-50 chance, Harrington, and so have I. Must be the hospital now. District Attorney speaking.
Listen, D.A., you've got to come and get me. Pick me up right away.
What's the matter, Orlando?
It's important, I tell you, D.A. You got to take care of me. You got to
I'm not falling for any of your tricks, Orlando.
It's not a trick, I swear. You got to take...
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Harrington, something's happened to the Duke. I've got to get out of his house fast.
Mr. District Attorney, dramatized by Phillips H. Lord, will be with you again tomorrow. All names of characters used in this program are, for obvious reasons, fictitious. Mr. District Attorney, subsequent to Friday of this week, will come to you once a week in half-hour form, commencing June 27th, 10 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. It will not be heard during the intervening week. This present period will be occupied beginning Monday of next week by Fred Waring in Pleasure Time. This is the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, Radio City, New York.